हेलो। दोनों होना। हेलो।
A very warm and vibrant good morning to one and all. Our esteemed chief guest and executive director works at the Rourkela Steel Plant, Mr. Biswaranjan Palai. Our distinguished guest and chief 5G strategist from the Johns Hopkins University, Dr. Ashutosh Datta. Our honorable guest of honor and director of NIT Rourkela, Professor K. Uma Maheshwar Rao. The respected chair of the IEEE India Council, Professor Prerna Gaur. The General Chairs of IndusCon 2025, Professor Sudeep Mishra, Professor Poonam Singh, and Professor Sushmita Das. The respected Daniel St. Clair Endowed Chair in Computer Science from the Missouri University of Science and Technology, USA, Professor Sajal K. Das. The respected Director of NIT Warangal, Professor Bidyadhar Subudhi. The respected Director of NIT Agartala, Professor Sharat Kumar Patra. Eminent speakers from reputed institutions and industries, delegates, members of the faculty, industry professionals, authors, conference participants, my enthusiastic fellow students, ladies and gentlemen present in the audience.
It is with immense pleasure and a great sense of honor that we, your anchors Haridas and Devyanshi, welcome you all to the inauguration ceremony of the 6th IEEE India Council International Subsections Conference IndusCon 2025. Right here in the intellectually stimulating campus of the National Institute of Technology, Rourkela. For us at NIT Rourkela, this is a moment of profound pride to host a conference of this magnitude. A confluence of the sharpest minds in technology is a testament to our institution's enduring commitment to academic excellence and pioneering research. IndusCon, the flagship conference of the IEEE India Council, celebrates its 6th edition this year, proudly organized under the aegis of the IEEE Rourkela subsection.
This year, the conference is anchored by the powerful and timely theme, Smart and Sustainable Technologies for Society. This theme challenges us all to look beyond mere technological advancement and to focus on creating solutions that are not only intelligent, but also responsible, equitable, and environmentally conscious. It is envisioned as a premier platform for researchers from academia and industry to not only share their groundbreaking work, but also to build valuable networks and forge future collaborations. The breadth of this conference is truly remarkable, inviting original research across a wide spectrum of domains, from artificial intelligence and quantum computing to next generation communication, VLSI, electric fields, and the Internet of Things. Essentially, for the next 3 days, this very campus will be the epicenter of discussions that will help build a smarter, more sustainable world. And what better place for such a gathering than the National Institute of Technology, Rourkela? As a leading institution of national importance, ranked 19th nationally by NIRF, our campus thrives on a research culture focused on societal impact, making it the ideal crucible for the groundbreaking ideas of IndusCon 2025.
A ceremony of this stature is defined by the presence of visionaries who lead and inspire us. Therefore, to formally begin our proceedings, I would now consider it my distinct honor to invite our esteemed dignitaries to please come forward and grace the dais. First and foremost, I would like to invite our chief guest for today's ceremony, the highly distinguished Mr. Biswaranjan Pillai, Executive Director Works at the Rourkela Steel Plant, Steel Authority of India Limited. Sir, we are truly privileged to have you with us today. May I please request you to come on stage? Next, it is my great honor to invite our distinguished guest, Dr. Ashutosh Datta. He is the professor at the prestigious Johns Hopkins University, USA. What makes this a truly special moment for us that he is also a highly renowned alumnus of our very own National Institute of Technology, Rourkela. Sir, it is an inspiration to have you back on your home campus. A very warm welcome to you, sir. Please join us on the dais. Sorry. I would also like to extend a cordial invitation to Professor Prerna Gaur, the esteemed chair of the IEEE India Council, whose guidance has been pivotal for this conference. Ma'am, we warmly welcome you to the dais. And now, I invite a cornerstone of IndusCon 2025, Professor Sudeep Mishra. Professor Mishra serves as the General Chair for the conference and is the Vice Chair for the Technical Activities at the IEEE India Council. Next, let us welcome one of the key pillars of this conference, Professor Poonam Singh. She wears multiple hats as the head of the EC department, the chair of the IEEE Rourkela subsection, and is also a General Chair of IndusCon 2025. Ma'am, your leadership has been the driving force behind this event. And joining her, I would like to invite her partner in leading the monumental effort, Professor Susmita Das, as the Vice Chair of the IEEE Rourkela subsection and a fellow General Chair of IndusCon 2025. Her contribution has been immense.
Thank you very much, esteemed dignitaries. It is an honor to have such an august panel gracing our stage today. As a token of our heartfelt respect and welcome, we would like to honor our eminent guests. In keeping with our conference theme of smart and sustainable technologies, we are moving away from transient bouquets and instead presenting a living sapling. This sapling is a symbol of growth, nurturing knowledge, and our collective commitment to a greener, more sustainable future. I would now like to invite our student volunteers to please come forward and present the saplings to the dignitaries on the dais. Thank you, volunteers. Thank you, volunteers. With this gesture of sustainable growth firmly planted, let us now proceed to a timeless Indian tradition that marks an auspicious beginning, the lighting of the ceremonial lamp. The lighting of the lamp symbolizes the dispelling of darkness and ignorance and the ushering in of an era of knowledge, wisdom, and enlightenment for all. I now humbly request our esteemed dignitaries on the dais to please join us in lighting the lamp and formally inaugurating IndusCon 2025.
या कुन्देन्दु तुषारहार धवला या शुभ्रवस्त्रावृता या वीणावरदण्डमण्डितकरा या श्वेतपद्मासना या ब्रह्माच्युतशङ्कर प्रभृतिभिः देवैः सदा वन्दिता सा मां पातु सरस्वती भगवती निःशेषजाड्यापहा शुक्लां ब्रह्मविचारसार परमा जगद्व्यापिनीं वीणापुस्तकधारिणी अभयदाम् जाड्यान्धकारापहाम् हस्ते स्फाटिकमालिकां विदधतीं पद्मासने संस्थितां वन्दे तां परमेश्वरीं भगवतीं बुद्धिप्रदां शारदाम्।
Thank you, esteemed dignitaries. With the light of knowledge now formally kindled, let us proceed with the formal addresses of today.
To formally welcome us all to this conference of minds, I would first like to invite the driving force behind this event, Professor Poonam Singh. Professor Singh serves as the General Chair of INDISCON 2025, the Chair of the IEEE Rourkela subsection, and is the head of our Electronics and Communication Engineering Department. A senior member of IEEE with a rich academic legacy, focuses on the future connectivity including next generation 5G and 6G communications. We are honored by her leadership and request ma'am to please deliver the welcome address.
Thank you, Dipanita. Honorable Chief Guest, Mr. Bishwaranjan Palai, ED Works, RSP. Distinguished guest, Dr. Ashutosh Datta from Johns Hopkins University. And distinguished alumni of NIT Rourkela. Guest of honor, Professor K. Uma Maheshwar Rao, Director, NIT Rourkela. Professor Prerna Gaur, Chair, IEEE India Council. Professor Sudeep Mishra, Vice Chair, Technical Activities, IEEE India Council, and also a co-chair for this program. Professor Sushmita Das, General Chair in INDISCON 2025. The honorable keynote and invited speakers, Professor Sajal Das from University of Missouri, Mr. Tushar Vrind from Samsung India, Professor Sharad Kumar Patra from NIT Agartala, Professor B. Subudhi from NIT Warangal. All our faculty members from the institute and from other institutes also, the staff members, students, and delegates who are present physically and who have joined in online. Good morning to everyone. On behalf of the organizing committee, it is my great pleasure to welcome you all to the 6th IEEE India Council Flagship Conference, INDISCON 2025, being held at NIT Rourkela from 21st to 23rd August. This is organized by IEEE Rourkela subsection. IEEE Rourkela subsection was formed in 2020, and subsequent to formation of this subsection, we have successfully organized many events, many short-term courses, workshops, and conferences. And it was always our endeavor to organize a bigger conference or a prestigious conference like INDISCON. So I take this opportunity to express our sincere thanks to IEEE India Council for giving us this opportunity to organize INDISCON 2025 at NIT Rourkela. This year's conference theme is Smart and Sustainable Technology for Society. It brings together a diverse community of academicians and industry relations from around the world to share their latest research findings, breakthrough technologies, and visionary insights. There are 12 different technical tracks from electrical, electronics, and computer science departments on artificial intelligence, machine learning, quantum computing, power systems, cyber physical systems, next generation communication, IoT, electric vehicles, to name a few. There are many more. And we received 3,570 papers, which is a record in INDISCON, or even in INDICON, they haven't received so many papers. And these papers are from participants from 21 countries. And it was really a challenging task to review so many papers. And we had invited more than 5,000 reviewers for reviewing, and thanks to all the reviewers, meta reviewers, and our organizing committee members, we could complete the review process almost in time, though there was a slight delay. And after a rigorous peer interview process, about 900 papers were accepted. And initially, we had planned to organize the conference only in physical mode. However, we got many requests that the classes have started, and now there is flood situation in many states. So we shifted to hybrid mode. And in this conference, we have around 225 participants in physical mode and about 200 in online. And we will have, because there are about 425 papers to be presented, we will have 6 parallel sessions in our lecture hall 2. And the technical program includes this 425 papers, plus there are 4 keynote addresses, 18 invited lectures, women in engineering special sessions, then panel discussions. All are designed to stimulate thought-provoking dialogue and cross-disciplinary collaboration. We are especially grateful to our keynote and invited speakers for accepting our invitation and sparing their valuable time and expertise. We also want to extend our sincere appreciation to the technical program committee members, reviewers, and the entire organizing team for their tireless efforts in putting together this program. So, and for the delegates, whether you are attending in person or virtually, we encourage you to engage fully with the sessions, connect with the fellow attendees, and take advantage of the many opportunities this conference offers. So let us inspire and be inspired, shaping the future of smart and sustainable technologies for society. So with this, once again, I welcome all of you to this conference. And for the delegates, I wish you a happy stay here. You go around the campus, see our beautiful campus, though the climate is not very good, it is hot and humid, and sometimes it rains. But still, I'm sure you will enjoy the environment here. And thank you once again for being a part of IndisCon 25. We look forward to your active participation and to make this a truly memorable and impactful event. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for those warm and encouraging words of welcome. Now, I would like to request dignitaries on the dais to open the proceedings.
It is now my distinct privilege to invite Professor Sudeep Mishra from the Indian Institute of Technology, Kharagpur. Professor Mishra also serves as the esteemed Vice Chair for the IEEE India Council for Technical Activities. He is a globally recognized authority on the Internet of Things, a recipient of the prestigious Shanti Swarup Bhatnagar Prize, and a Fellow of the National Academy of Sciences, India. Sir, your pioneering work inspires millions, and we are very eager to hear your thoughts.
Okay, so good morning, everyone. Respected Chief Guest, Mr. Biswaranjan Palai, Guest of Honor, Professor Uma Maheshwar Rao, Dr. Ashutosh Datta, Professor Sajal Das, Professor Subudhi, Professor S.K. Patra, Professor Poonam Singh, Professor Suchismita Das, other esteemed dignitaries, distinguished speakers, fellow academicians, researchers, industry leaders who are present over here. all my students and friends. It gives me immense pleasure as the General Chair of IEEE IndisCon 2025 to extend a warm and heartfelt welcome to each one of you to this prestigious conference, which is being hosted in this beautiful campus of NIT Rourkela. At the outset, I would like to express my gratitude to IEEE India Council, our esteemed guests, our partners, and the dedicated organizing committee whose tireless efforts have made this event possible, and that is why we are all here. IEEE IndisCon, as most of you know, is a flagship conference of the IEEE India Council, and over the years, it has grown into a platform that brings together brilliant minds from the academia, industry, and research laboratories. And that this is something that we all are going to witness in the next 2 days. It's a conference where ideas are exchanged, collaborations are formed, and innovations are inspired. This year, we are proud to host IndisCon at this beautiful campus of NIT Rourkela. So for all the outsiders of NIT Rourkela, we all are aware that this is an institution that is very well known not only in our country but also abroad for academic excellence, vibrant research culture, and the tradition of fostering innovation. As Dr. Poonam Singh already mentioned, the theme of this year's conference is Smart and Sustainable Technologies for Society. And in the current context, this could not be more relevant. We all are witnessing an era where technology is reshaping the way we live, we work, and we interact with each other. Everything has evolved. We see a completely different world. But technology alone is not enough. It must be sustainable, inclusive, and human-centric. So this is very important to me, and I hope that most of you would agree that the human centricity is very important with technological adoption. So smartness, basically, in the conference theme, is referring to the pursuit for developing, for researching on intelligent systems, artificial intelligence, advanced communication technologies, robotics, and Internet of Things that improve efficiency and productivity. The sustainable part of the theme of the conference refers to the joint responsibility, and I hope that all of us will agree on this, that we all collectively will have to be jointly responsible towards the sustainability goals, including energy efficiency, productivity solutions, environmental protection, which is extremely important, and technologies that promote equity and well-being. For the society, we have to be reminded that the ultimate goal of innovation is not profit, but progress. The progress that would touch lives, bridge, divide, and make our world a better place to live in. So these three components of the theme of the conference should be kept in mind during not only the 2 days of the conference, but also in future when we carry on research in these directions that we have been working on. Now, this edition of IndisCon brings together different renowned keynote speakers, panel discussions, technical paper presentations, and workshops covering diverse domains from smart healthcare and green energy to next generation communication networks and cybersecurity. In the interest of time, I'm not mentioning the different names of the speakers and the papers, etc. Already Dr. Singh has given some highlight, but if you open the proceedings, you would be able to see all the details. I am particularly glad that this conference, IndisCon 2025, it provides a strong platform for young researchers and students, and I already see it in this room. I see a lot of young and very enthusiastic faces over here, I'm sure that your enthusiasm, the fresh ideas, and the spirit of innovation that you all individually possess will be true drivers of our future, future of the nation, future of the world at large. Through this conference, we aim to foster collaborations between academia, industry, and policymakers. So all attendees, particularly the younger ones, I would encourage you to take this opportunity to collaborate, to network, and trust me that the networks that you build in events like this will help you a lot in future. I also encourage that all of you explore the possibilities of not only fundamental research, but also the interdisciplinarity in research that might help us to address the different societal challenges and the sustainability goals that I mentioned, which forms the theme of this conference. We should also inspire the next generation of engineers and scientists to take up the responsibility of building a smarter, greener, and more sustainable world. As engineers, as technologists, as scientists and researchers, our goal, our work is not only just about building circuits, writing codes, designing algorithms, analyzing algorithms. It should not be restricted to only these things. It is about creating technologies that serve humanity. To me, it is paramount important. So this conference is a reminder of the higher purpose, and all of us, I would encourage you to consider thinking in the direction. Finally, I sincerely thank the organizing committee, particularly the local hosts of NIT Rourkela, under the directorship of Professor Uma Maheshwar Rao, the different volunteers who have been helping to have this event possible, and the IEEE student branches, the different other IEEE societies that are getting involved, and the faculty members from this institution and other institutions who are over here for their dedication and teamwork. Without their hard work, this event would not have been possible. To all participants, I encourage you to make the most of these 3 days, exchange ideas, challenge the perspectives, build collaborations, and take back not just knowledge, but an inspiration. On behalf of the organizing team, I once again extend a warm welcome to you all. Let us together make IEEE IndisCon 2025 at NIT Rourkela a truly memorable and impactful event. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for that incredibly insightful talk.
Now, I have the honor of inviting Professor Prerna Gaur, the esteemed chair of the IEEE India Council. Professor Gaur is also the director of the Netaji Subhas University of Technology, Delhi, and a leading expert in power systems and smart grids. As the leader of the council that guides flagship conferences like IndisCon, her perspective is truly invaluable. I now request ma'am to please address the gathering.
Good morning to all dignitaries on the dais, off the dais, our chief guest, Mr. Biswaranjan Palai from ED SAIL, guest of honor, Professor Ashutosh Datta from Johns Hopkins, Director NIT Rourkela, Professor K. Uma Maheshwar Rao, sir, Vice Chair of Technical Activities, India Council, Professor Sudeep Mishra, both General Chairs, Professor Poonam Singh and Professor Sushmita Das, the dignitaries of the dais, Professor Subuddhi, Professor Sarat K. Patra, Professor Sajay Das, and Dr. Tushar. A very welcome to you all to the IndisCon 2025. I am honored to stand before you today at the inauguration of IndisCon 2025, the flagship conference of IEEE India Council. It is remarkable to note that we have received 3,500 paper submissions a testament to the global interest in advancing technology for humanity. A big round of applause for such a high level of conference India Council has given and organized in NIT Rourkela. Previously, IndusCon conferences were successfully organized by the different sections, subsections, because IndusCon is the conference which is being organized in all subsections in rotation, and we have another conference, IndicOn, that is being organized by the sections. So in 2020, it was the first conference organized in Vizag-based subsection. 2021, it was Nagpur subsection, VNIT Nagpur. 2022, Bhubaneswar subsection, KIT Bhubaneswar. And 23, it was Mysore subsection. And in 24, it was Chandigarh subsection. 25, it is in Rourkela. And 26, it will go to MNIT Jaipur. So I have had the chance to attend the last three IndusCon, and it's my fourth one. IndusCon 2025, hosted by the IEEE Rourkela subsection at the National Institute of Technology Rourkela, embodies the theme, Smart and Sustainable Technologies for Society. This conference serves as a platform for researchers, scholars, and industry professionals to exchange insights, foster collaboration, and showcase advances in cutting-edge technologies. And the program includes technical tracks, AI and ML data science, sensors, instrumentation control and automation, network and hardware securities, cryptography and blockchain, IoT, cyber physical systems, and Industry 4.0, all emerging areas. And key features of this conference are that best paper awards are there, industry sessions are being organized, workshops are there, tutorials, and a special Women in Engineering session. And I have come to know that all speakers mostly are fellows, either online or offline, and have accepted to speak to the authors in this conference. This year we are celebrating Golden Jubilee of IEEE India Council. It was established in 1976 in the May month, and we reflect on 5 decades of technology advancements and contributions to the society. This milestone year has been marked by significant events, including the inauguration of our Move truck in the GIEEE office, Bangalore, in the presence of all 3 presidents of IEEE, past, present, and president-elect. It is mobile education unit aimed at promoting STEM education in rural areas and for disaster management. So I hope and wish that it will soon spread in all 14 sections of India. It is the initiative of IEEE Global and has come to India this year. We were also privileged to host IEEE presidents during the Golden Jubilee celebrations of the India Council in Kochi, Pune, and Delhi, where they shared insights on the future of technology and innovation. These events not only highlighted our achievements under India Council, but also reinforced our commitment to harnessing technology for the benefit of humanity. I am pleased to inform you that our membership of IEEE India Council has nearly reached 1 lakh and representing almost a quarter of the world's total membership count across 160 countries. We are the largest and the most vibrant council of the IEEE, comprising of 14 sections and 16 subsections. Starting in 2028, actually, there are 10 regions in IEEE. In 2028, IEEE will have 11 regions, and we will be part of Region 11. Currently, we are falling under Region 10. And after 2028, all IEEE members who are in India will be under Region 11. And voting is currently underway for the Region 11 chair-elect. I encourage everyone to vote and choose the best candidate. IndusCon 2025, coming to the conference, embodies the spirit of innovation and collaboration, providing a platform for researchers. And I congratulate the organizing committee, authors, and delegates for their contributions to this successful event. And Also appreciate the authors for submitting their research work and the delegates for participating in this prestigious event. My heartiest congratulations to Director NIT Rourkela for the successful organizing of this big event. And I would like to express my gratitude to the entire organizing committee under General Chair Dr. Poonam Singh, Dr. Sushmita Das, TPC co-chairs, Vice Chair of the Technical Activities Dr. Sudeep Mishra, he was in continuous touch with this committee, and most importantly, the reviewers and the volunteers for their tireless efforts in making this conference a success. As we gather here today, we are part of larger community that is driving innovation and technological advancement in India and beyond. I am confident that in DISCON 2025 will provide a meaningful platform for knowledge sharing, collaboration, and growth. Let us work together to make this conference a memorable experience and a catalyst for future innovations. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am, for sharing your vision for IEEE in India with us.
And now, for the moment we all have been eagerly waiting, I have the distinct privilege of inviting our chief guest, Mr. Biswaranjan Pillai, Executive Director, Works at the Rourkela Steel Plant, a unit of the Steel Authority of India Limited. It is a matter of immense pride for us to welcome him back to his alma mater, as Mr. Pillai is a distinguished alumnus, having completed his mechanical engineering right here at NIT Rourkela. A technocrat with an illustrious career at the Steel Authority of India Limited, his leadership has driven unprecedented success, guiding the Rourkela Steel Plant to achieve its best ever hot metal and sinter production records. It is an honor to have him with us, and now we request him to please deliver the inaugural address.
आप सभी को नमस्कार, सुप्रभात, good morning to all of you. Respected distinguished guest, Dr. Asutosh Datta, Professor, Johns Hopkins University, USA, and distinguished alumni NIT Rourkela. Guest of honor, Professor K. Uma Maheshwar Rao, Director NIT Rourkela, Professor Prerna Gaur, Chairman IEEE India Council, Professor Sudeep Mishra, General Chair, INDISCON 2025, and Vice Chair, Technical Activities, IEEE India Council, Professor Poonam Singh and Professor Sushmita Das, General Chairs, INDISCON 2025, keynote speakers, dignitaries, members of the Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers, fellow researchers, students, and all those who have gathered here today. A very warm welcome to all of you. It's my distinct honor and privilege to be with you at this 6th IEEE India Council International Subsections Conference in DISCON 2025. This flagship annual event of IEEE India Council, proudly hosted this year by IEEE Rourkela subsection, reflects your collective commitment to advancing technologies for the betterment of society. Over the next 3 days, under the theme Smart and Sustainable Technologies for Society, we will witness an exciting exchange of ideas through keynote addresses, invited talks, panel discussions, and more than 400 carefully reviewed research papers. The conference also features special sessions, industry sessions, and women in engineering sessions, making it a comprehensive platform to explore innovation from multiple perspectives. This theme is not just a title, but a call to action, urging us to create technologies that are intelligent, resilient, and sustainable. Speaking from the perspective of the steel industry to which I belong, I can share that digitalization, artificial intelligence, and machine learning are no longer futuristic concepts. They are becoming central to productivity and profitability. With state-of-the-art blast furnace number 5 and the mills like new plate mill and hot strip mill 2 at Rourkela Steel Plant, we are already applying level 2 automation for process advisory and simulations. Under our digital transformation program, that is Pravartanam, we are driving digital transformation across all the steel plants and developing digital twins here at RSP for critical thermochemical processes, basic oxygen furnace, and blast furnaces. These steps show how research and innovation translate into real-world impact. Here, I would request all of you to actively participate, engage in discussions, challenge the conventional thinkings, and collaborate across disciplines. Let us use this conference not just as a platform for academic exchanges, but as a springboard to bring ideas from paper to practice towards solving the pressing problem of our society and our planet. Thank you all, and I wish the conference a great success. Jai Jagannath.
Thank you, sir, for the enlightening and pragmatic address. Your profound insights coming from the heart of the industry are incredibly valuable to every one of us here today.
We are now graced by the presence of a truly inspirational figure, and it is a moment of immense pride for our institution as I invite our distinguished guest and alumnus, Dr. Ashutosh Datta. He is the director of the Doctor of Engineering program at Johns Hopkins University and the chair of the EC Department for Engineering for Professionals, and is also the chief 5G strategist, senior scientist, and a Lawrence R. Hafstad Fellow at the Applied Physics Lab in Johns Hopkins University. Dr. Datta is a fellow of the Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers, IEEE, and a distinguished member of the Association of Computing Machinery, ACM. He holds several leadership positions in professional societies, including Director of Marketing and Industry Relations for the IEEE Communication Society and founding co-chair of the IEEE Futures Networks Initiative. He has received many prestigious awards, including the induction into the 2024 IPv6 Hall of Fame, the 2022 IEEE USA George F. McClure Citation of Honor, and the most proudly for us, the Distinguished Alumnus Award from the NIT Rourkela in 2021. His remarkable research expertise in areas like 5G and software-defined networking has led to numerous publications and 31 granted US patents. Dr. Datta is the author of the book Mobility and Handover Optimization and the editor-in-chief of the Journal of Cybersecurity and Mobility. It is a great privilege to have him with us today.
Thank you very much. All right, excellent. So my joy knows no bounds today. It's a special day, a real special day. I'm so emotional as well. As you can see, I was, in the morning, I went to this temple in front of the director's residence. We used to go there every evening. There was no temple that time, it was just the tree. So I went and offered my prayers. I also got a chance to speak to many students who are coming with their parents. There's somebody who just stopped by with a taxi and I'd like to get a room in the guest house. That reminds me of 44 years back when I came with my father. He's no more today. And he came to drop me. Well, that was actually the admission day, but anyway, so he came, and when he was walking in, he found one of his professor, Professor Ramana Rao. He was in the Ravinsa College, but anyway, we got out of the auto, and then he basically offered prayers to him. And so it is so emotional for me. So I'd like to say hello NIT Rourkela. Good morning, everybody. And I'm just one of you. I'd like to thank all the faculty, everybody who really invited me. I like to stay engaged, like to be part of this association. I know I'm an alum now, but I still like to be embedded anything you do. So I have to read a few things here. First of all, Honorable NIT Rourkela Director, Professor Uma Mahesh Rao. I know we have been doing great stuff. I never got a chance to meet with you, but I've heard we have a NIT Rourkela Overseas Association. I'm also the Vice Chair of NITRA. I think we have Chairman Professor Sikas Naik there. India Council Chair, Professor Prerna Gaur. I'm also an IEEE volunteer. I work with Professor Sajal Das, Sudeep Mishra, and Subudhi, Dr. Subudhi, and doing many IEEE activities around the world. Professor Poonam Singh, Professor Sushmita Das, who I have been working with many other IEEE activities. And Professor Sajal Das is kind of my guru. We have followed a lot of things from him. His younger brother he works with me, and we used to work together, Professor Subir Das. I know we have a lot of people who work, like TPC chairs, organizing committee, alumni, students. I got a chance to talk to many students on the hallway just to get an experience. It's so important because, IEEE, Professor Kaur told, we are like technology diplomats. Think about it. We are not political diplomats. We develop technology for the humanity, for advancing the technology for humanitarian activity, right? So think about, you are the ambassador, we are the ambassador of helping the community by developing new technology, by deploying it, things like that, right? And this is such an auspicious time. We are doing this in this building, which is the center of innovation, right? So there's nothing more important than that. So it's extremely pleasure to be able to return to my alma mater. As you said, 2021, I was here with my mom. It was a COVID day, and I was thankful to being considered as a distinguished alumnus. I also like to thank Mr. Vishwajan Pillai, who I know you're 89 batch, so we unfortunately didn't overlap, but thank you for your leadership. Absolutely. Professor Subudhi, I met in 2014 when I came with my family. I have 2 kids. They are grown up now, 29, 25. But I had chai and snacks in his house, and then he hosted my talk. That's the time I think I met Professor Das as well. Professor Patra, I met, and Tushar, all the dignitaries. So I like to say one thing. I know I'm a son of NIT Rourkela, right? And I'm coming back to NIT Rourkela, to my alma mater. So in that sense, we have lost a lot of faculty. Professor Somnath Mishra, he was the director. We have also lost a lot of faculty who I got training from. So I offer my greatest gratitude to all the past and present faculty, the staff, my classmates, seniors, juniors, some of them are here. My classmates, I met Saroj Patel yesterday and in the guest house. And also, I grew up 4 years. That is the most important part of my life. I developed my personality. So I owe my gratitude to all the surrounding. When you become somebody, you have to thank people you grew with. Check post, back post, all the surrounding and the environment I grew with, the air I breathed, those are important things. So 85, when I graduated, I joined Telco Jamshedpur for 2 years. I was a computer engineer. And then we had an aspiration like many of us have here. And 87, I went to United States. And then, I studied my master's, then I worked, then I did my PhD at Columbia University. The reason I'm telling all this, I think many of us have aspiration to do something. And the most important thing is believe in yourself, have a passion, do the hard work, believe in God. That will take you to where you like to do. You may not get 100%, you may get 80%, right? I think all of the achievers here in this room today, they can say that, right? So I'm extremely thankful for all the distinguished alumnus award that was conferred on me. I had the opportunity, that point President of India and the Governor of Odisha, they were there, and my mother was so happy to see that. But last 20 years, I had the pleasure of interacting through NITRA and NITRA with many faculty here. I've come at least 10 times since I graduated in 1985. And that is important to keep the breeze. I'm so happy I'm able to keep that bridge, and now through this conference, I can continue to get engaged with other things. So I'm extremely delighted to learn that NIT Rourkela is organizing the 6th IEEE in this conference. It's a flagship conference, as Professor Gaur said. And I'm also glad to learn that NIT Rourkela has become a subsection. And I know I work with some people like Professor Bakshi and others. And it has taken a leadership role in putting together many conferences, workshops like this. So this is an amazing thing. And the most important thing is to get the students involved. So I was talking to some IEEE, some student volunteers. There are about 50 of those. Many of them are undergrads, graduate students, and PhDs. So they call it charity begins at home, right? So this is where we have to learn how to give back to the community while we learn things. So and that's something you have to do. So this is a platform that provides excellent opportunity to the students, researchers to publicize the research results and engage in networking. I'm focusing on that. Networking is so important. Through this IEEE, I'll tell you, I had the chance to meet with the fathers of the internet, Vint Cerf, Bob Kahn, Len Kleinrock. These are the guys who invented internet. And today I have the pleasure of working with them in projects like Digital Divide, Connecting the Unconnected. There are a lot of other things. So that's why I say never be shy of going and talking to somebody, doing a handshake with anybody you meet. So finally, I'd like to congratulate the director of NIT Rourkela, Professor Rao, IEEE India Council Chair, Professor God, for being the patrons of the timely flagship conference. Also like to thank the co-patrons, members of Executive Steering Committee, International Advisory Committee, National Advisory Committee for providing the guidance for this event. I was going through the list of people who have been involved, and it's a lot of work. I have organized conference myself, as hats up to them. Last but not the least, I'd like to congratulate General Co-Chairs here, Professor Poonam Singh, Professor Sushmita Das, and Professor Sudeep Mishra for a wonderful job. I can imagine how much of sleepless night maybe we have gone through. We don't look tired at all, by the way. So we're putting together an excellent program with help from the whole organizing committee. It's amazing to see how many students are engaged and volunteers also. So please keep up that and keep engaged. It's also gratifying to see how wonderful conference taking place on the top of my alma mater, own alma mater, NIT Rourkela, with papers from around the world. I specifically encourage the student community to take advantage of this international gathering by interacting, networking with others. This is a perfect opportunity. Collaboration, networking, writing papers, a lot of good ideas generate, and continue that collaboration, just don't stop here. As a Nitran and member of Executive Steering Committee of INDISCON 2025, I'd like to invite all the participants to enjoy the technically enriching and socially vibrant conference during these 3 days lap of NIT Rourkela. So with that, again, I'm very grateful. I'm very happy, excited to be part of this conference, which is kind of my alma mater, motherland, as you can see. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for that enlightening perspective. It is truly an honor to learn from you.
Next, it is my honor to invite our guest of honor and director of the National Institute of Technology, Rourkela, Professor K. Uma Maheshwar Rao. Professor Rao is a distinguished academician with a formidable career. Thank you, sir.
The most distinguished dignitaries on dais, the chief guest of this morning, Mr. Viswaranjan Pillai, ED Works, Rourkela Steel Plant, Steel Authority of India Limited, and Professor Ashutosh Datta, Professor John Hopkins University, and our distinguished alumni, and Professor Mishra, Chair of IEEE Vice Chair, Technical Activities, IEEE India Council, and Professor Prerna Gaur, and Professor Poonam Singh, and Professor Sushmita Das, and my faculty colleagues from all the circuit departments, and Professor, I forgot my colleagues, Professor Vidyadhar Subudhi, Director NIT Warangal, and Professor Sharat Kumar Patra, Director NIT Agartala. They are my colleagues because we all are in the same family of the good things and then bad things and challenges and various other things. We are in the midst of the seat allocation and then registration of the BTECs, and lot many disturbance calls will be coming to me. So in any moment I'll just walk out and then have to answer the ministry. Having said this one, then we have gathered here for the 6th IEEE Council meeting, and the topic, or rather the agenda of this one, is the sustainable technologies for the better society and then better tomorrow. Sustainability is one thing which I've been hearing from my college days. So now the question is that, have you not really thought seriously about the sustainable development as yet or not? Just about 10 days ago, or rather less than 10 days ago, we have celebrated 79th Independence Day of the country. 79 years, right, in any measure, it's not a small time to ignore, but it's not a big time to really say that we haven't really achieved something greater. But then it has thrown a challenge at us. The challenge which was not there yesterday and is the challenge that we are facing today. Globally, geopolitical scenario has changed left and right and center. And then every day, we really do not know what will be the tariff, from which country, and how much will be that. And then, are we sustainable? The question which I am trying to connect that one to this one is that, are we sustainable? Or when do we really think about making India self-reliant and sustainable, and such challenges which are there now, like the 50% tariff or any other percent tariffs on any goods, right, will not really disturb the society or the economy of the country. This is one serious thought which the next generation has to really think about, because we are now at a threshold of a different technological revolution. Mind you, because when I was a student, just graduated from the university, the technological revolution was at a different point, and then today we are at a point where just about fortnight there will be a change in the technology, and then another 1 month there will further a change in the technology. Where are we in that particular landscape? What exactly is the contribution of Indian engineers or the scientists or anybody connected with this in terms of the artificial intelligence, in terms of IoTs, in terms of the semiconductor technologies, in terms of, just think about that one, in circuit area. Where do we really stand today? Are we self-sufficient about artificial intelligence? Or are we still dependent on some other country? Okay, so now today we have come to a point where robots are also becoming thinking machines. They are also becoming emotional machines. Right? We are in that particular era where machines are thinking. Okay, and then the factories, I'm just connecting factories because we have the chief guest from RSP. Now factories are now learning, in the sense that the machines are in the form of the machine learning, and then 3D printing, and then manufacturing. The subtractive manufacturing is really slowly receding, and then we are going into an era of additive manufacturing. Machines are being learned, given the information about that one, okay, machine learning of all those things. And then we are Rourkela is in such a point where more than a dozen industries are there. All the industries directly or indirectly connected to me because I'm a mining engineer. Supply chain is also at another challenging thing which we have. If I really touch upon these three things, where are we really trying to address? Whom are we really trying to address about the sustainable technologies? Okay, this is one thing. Are we still going to have the same dependence on the mobiles? Can we see a day when all the delegates in this room and then distinguished delegates on the dais are carrying the smartphones which are made in India? That is when we'll be answering other we have addressed this sustainability or not. Till that time, we still have a lot of challenges about importing things. To what extent we can import? Can we really sustain with paying 50% tariff? This is one thing which we all have to really think about. And it is absolutely a topic which is very, very important at the present scenario. Okay. And I am really happy that around 3,500 papers have been received. That means it's going to be absolutely a great discussion. And then I just was going through the abstract here, and topics are ranging from networks and then communication technologies, and then the semiconductors, various other things, to Alzheimer's, and then not only that, the stress analysis on the robotics, and then and whatnot, various other medical related papers are also there, and then brain mapping. So I think today what I really realized just in these 5-10 minutes is that there is no area in which electronics has not percolated into. And that is where I think it is time for all the tomorrow's engineers and who are shaping at NIT Rourkela, you have a different challenge to really take on your shoulders. The reason is that I just want to make a contribution from NIT Rourkela to make things possible, that is, make in India possible. And then I want to be a participant in the dreams of the country, that is, by 2047, India is completely self-reliant and everything is absolutely self-sustainable. Thank you very much and wish you all the very best.
Thank you so much, sir, for that powerful and motivating address. Your words have truly set a magnificent tone for our conference.
As a small gesture of our immense gratitude for the wisdom and inspiration our dignitaries have shared with us today, we would now like to move to a felicitation ceremony. These mementos will serve as a cherished reminder of this special occasion and our deep respect for our guests.
To do the honors, may I first invite our respected director, Professor K. Uma Maheshwar Rao, to please come forward. I first request our director, sir, to please present a memento to our esteemed chief guest, Mr. Viswaranjan Palai. Next, I request sir to please felicitate our distinguished guest and alumnus, Dr. Ashutosh Datta. Thank you, sir. Now, in a gesture of deep respect for our institutional head, may I invite Professor Poonam Singh, our General Chair, to present a memento to our respected Director and Guest of Honor, Professor K. Uma Maheshwar Rao. And now, I request ma'am to please honor the chair of the IEEE India Council, Professor Prerna Gaur. Thank you, ma'am.
Moving forward, I would now like to invite Professor Susmita Das, General Chair of INDISCON 2025, to please present a memento to the Vice Chair of IEEE India Council, Professor Sudeep Mishra. Thank you, ma'am. Now, I request Professor Prerna Gaur to present mementos to Professor Poonam Singh and Professor Susmita Das. Thank you, esteemed dignitaries. These mementos are but a small token of our deep appreciation.
Gratitude is the heart of every great endeavor. Now, to formally articulate our thanks and bring this wonderful inaugural ceremony to a close, I would like to invite Professor Susmita Das. As the General Chair of IndusCon 2025 and the Vice Chair of the IEEE Rourkela subsection, her leadership has been indispensable to the success of this event. A senior professor in the Department of Electrical Engineering here at NIT Rourkela and a distinguished fellow of both the Institution of Engineers and the Institution of Electronics and Telecom Engineers, her extensive research has made significant contributions to the fields of adaptive signal processing and wireless communication, particularly in 5G and 6G technologies. I now request ma'am to please propose the official vote of thanks.
A very good morning, esteemed dignitaries on dais and off the dais, a distinguished guest in the audience, honored invited speakers, respected organizing committee members, dear faculty members present, my dear colleagues, and all conference participants, authors in audience, and also all our attendees online, authors also online. As one of the organizing chairs, it's indeed an honor and privilege on behalf of the organizing committee of IEEE IndusCon 2025 to propose the vote of thanks at the inaugural ceremony of this prestigious and intellectually invigorating event, IndusCon 2025, at the prestigious NIT Rourkela, a very premier institute of our country. First and foremost, our deepest gratitude to our esteemed chief guest, Mr. Biswaranjan Pillai, Executive Director Works, Rourkela Steel Plant, for accepting our invitation in a short notice, in spite of his very busy schedule. Sir, your address was incredibly insightful. We are very fortunate to have our distinguished guest, Dr. Asutosh Datta, whose inspiring inaugural address set a forward-looking tone and energized our insight into how smart and sustainable innovations can transform the society. We express our heartfelt gratitude to our Honorable Director, Sir, Professor Ruma Maheshwar Rao, for gracing this occasion with his presence and sharing his valuable thoughts in his address. Honorable Sir, your inspiring words have set the perfect tone for the vision and spirit of this flagship conference of IEEE India Council, organized by IEEE Rourkela subsection. Our special thanks go to the IEEE leadership present amongst us, Professor Prerna Gaur, India Council Chair, and Professor Sudeep Mishra, IEEE India Council Technical Activities Vice Chair, and sponsoring organizations, all our sponsoring organizations, for their unwavering support, guidance, and encouragement in making this event a reality. We owe much to the IEEE India Council, IEEE Kolkata section, and Rourkela subsection for their continued support and guidance. Their collaboration and commitment have elevated IndusCon 2025, making it a truly impactful academic event of the year. We also thank Professor B.D. Subudhi, Director NIT Warangal, and Professor S.K. Patra, Director NIT Agartala, for accepting our invitation for delivering invited talks. We also appreciate Dr. Tushar Brin, Director Samsung India Research, for accepting our invitation and gracing this occasion. We extend our sincere thanks to all our keynote and invited speakers for giving their precious time, sharing their invaluable knowledge, experiences, and perspectives in the advanced field of electrical, electronics, and computer science engineering, befitting to the conference theme. All your contributions in this conference will enrich technical sessions and open up avenues for research and collaboration for all authors and participants presenting the papers. We'd like to express our deepest appreciation for our organizing committee members, technical program committee members, reviewers, session chairs, faculty coordinators of various internal committees. All your unwavering dedication from the reviewing submission to seamless session coordination. So this has been the backbone of this conference. Our thanks also go to the organizers of Women in Engineering session and invited panelists from industries and academia for accepting our invitations to participate and motivate us. A special word of gratitude to all our dear student volunteers, research scholars, all MTech and UG students who have rendered their service unconditionally from the very beginning and stood with us for every preparation. All your tireless efforts have amplified the reach of this conference and we ensured that all the in-person and hybrid sessions will run smoothly. No event of this magnitude is complete without acknowledging all our authors, the participants and delegates who have joined us from different corners of country and abroad. All your enthusiasms, your thought-provoking questions will definitely activate the spirit of this conference. We hope you will all find this platform rewarding, both academically and professionally. A special nod of appreciation to the local host, NIT Rourkela, for providing us the world-class facilities, logistics, and a very welcoming spirit to all our participants in such a green and clean campus that has made this gathering possible today. Here we record the dedicated support and flawless work carried by our fellow teammates, all 4 young and energetic organizing secretaries, Professor Sisel Malikarjun Hiremat, Professor Tanmay Rai Chaudhary, Professor Ayaskan Swain, and Professor Arnav Ghosh. Each one of you has contributed immensely for INDISCON 2025. You people had many sleepless nights to meet our deadlines, and for everything, you all deserve huge appreciation. Please. Finally, before coming to an end, I deeply appreciate leadership role of my fellow general chairs, Professor Poonam Singh and Professor Sudeep Mishra, for their incredible work in organizing this flagship India Council conference and making it a memorable event. On behalf of this organizing committee, I again thank you for your invaluable presence and contributions. We look forward to your continued engagement and hope to welcome you all again at future editions of IEEE conferences at NIT Rourkela in future. With these words, I once again express my deepest gratitude to each and every one of you directly and indirectly involved in organizing INDISCON 2025 at NIT Rourkela. Thank you and have a nice day. Jai Jagannath and Jai Bharat. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for the comprehensive vote of thanks. On behalf of the entire organizing committee, I extend one final heartfelt thank you to our esteemed chief guest and all our distinguished dignitaries on the dais for gracing us with your invaluable time and wisdom. And to you, our wonderful audience, delegates, faculty, and students, thank you for being a part of this momentous occasion. Your presence is what makes this conference truly alive. With this, we formally conclude the inauguration ceremony of the 6th IEEE India Council International Subsections Conference, IndusCon 2025. I would now like to request our esteemed dignitaries to proceed for high tea, and for all our delegates, there will be 2 keynote sessions after high tea, with the first keynote session beginning shortly as per the schedule. We wish you an intellectually stimulating and collaborating experience over the next 3 days. Thank you.
Hello. The participants who have not completed the registration, please reach to the registration desk to complete your registration. The participants who have not completed the registration process, please reach to the registration desk and complete your registration. मैडम ये छोड़ दीजिए हम लोग पैक कर देंगे ये पैक कर बहुत सारा हो गया सामान हाँ ठीक है सब हो जाएगा नहीं सब बैग है सब पैक कर देंगे
come back to the hall, and we are going to we are resuming the session, keynotes. So our first keynote for today will be given by Dr. Asutosh Datta. Dr. Datta is a technology leader, accomplished networking and computer science expert with over 35 years of experience in telecommunication, networking, wireless communications, cloud computing, and cybersecurity field. He earned his PhD in electrical engineering from Columbia University, US, an MS in computer science from NJIT, US, and of course, our own alumni, that is BTech in electrical engineering from NIT Rourkela. Professor Datta currently serves as a senior scientist and 5G chief strategist at Johns Hopkins University Applied Physics Laboratory, US, and he is a prominent IEEE fellow, recognized for his pioneering contributions to next-generation networks and secure communications. Over the course of his career, he has held leadership and research roles in AT&T, Verizon, Telcordia, Ericsson, Lucent Bell Labs, and Columbia University, where he has driven innovations in 5G, 6G technologies, mobility management, and trusted AI-driven systems. Dr. Datta is actively engaged in IEEE Communication Society, serving in various leadership capabilities, including as co-chair in IEEE Future Network Initiatives, where he helps shape the vision and strategy for future wireless systems. His thought leadership is reflected in numerous keynote talks, invited lectures, and panel discussions at major global conferences, where he shares insight on the convergence of AI, 6G, cybersecurity, and IoT. He has authored more than 100 research publications, contributed 31 patents, and co-authored multiple books and chapters. He has been honored with several prestigious awards, including the IEEE MGA Leadership Award 2014, IEEE US Professional Leadership Award 2010, and other recognitions for his outstanding technical and professional contributions like 2024 IPv6 Hall of Fame, 2022 IEEE US George McLaurin Citation of Honor, IEEE North American Regional Exceptional Service Award, and the Distinguished Alumnus Award of NIT Rourkela 2021, and many more notable awards in US. Dr. Datta has played a significant role in mentoring young researchers and professionals, fostering collaboration between academia, industry, and government to accelerate innovation in secure and dependable communication systems. Today, we are privileged to have Professor Datta with us as our distinguished guest and keynote speaker. No. Thank you, sir. Please.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor Das. Can you hear me, folks? Okay. Thank you, Professor Das, for the kind introduction. And as I told you in the beginning, I'm just one of the NIT alum, and this is my home. So I know we are running late, and we have another interesting keynote speaker, Professor Sajal Das, who I learned a lot when I was doing my initial research. So I will speak today about 5G security, AI, ML, and opportunities, challenges. So my whole goal of this talk is, because I have only 40 minutes plus 5 minutes Q&A, I wanted to give you some idea about evolution of networks, communication networks, and I'll focus mostly on 5G. And I hope everybody knows what G means, a G for generation, like 1G, 2G, 3G, 4G. 5G is right now the 5th generation cellular technology, and every 10 years we have an evolution. So I'll talk a little bit about that. Then I'll focus on some security aspects. What are the security challenges, and how can we take care of it? Every time there's a new evolution, there's a new security challenge, right? Then I'll also focus, let me just move to the next slide. Okay, is it? Do I have to stand there? So that's fine. I have to tell next then. This doesn't work. Okay. So this is my outline. I'll say a little bit about wireless evolution. And when we develop technology, we have to know why we need it, right? Anytime, it's not like we're doing research because there is a some motivation behind it. So I'll give some motivation. Then I'll say a little bit about converged networks. The reason I picked that, because now we are doing 5G, on converged networks, I'll give you some example how you can have ubiquitous connectivity. So if you're connected, let's say right now in Wi-Fi, get out of it or get out of campus, then you connect to cellular. Then something happened to cellular tower, you connect to satellite. So this whole seamless connectivity is important, and that's one of the pillars for 6G. I'll say a little bit about that. Then it's a little bit technical talk, so you have to understand, before I get into the details of security, you should know how a 5G network looks like, right? We all have our cell phone. When you make a call, you should know how it goes, get connected, and how you browse the internet or talk to somebody. So unless you know that, you cannot understand the problem of security. So I'll talk about that very high level, because if you look at the 5G specification, there are 400, 500-page documents, and there are tons of those in 3GPP. Okay, so I'll talk about that. Then I'll give some use cases. So it's important while you study theory, it's important to know how you can implement and how it can be useful. So I'll talk about some experimental results using testbed. I was talking to Professor Singh and Professor Das that you have some 5G lab. I'll talk about how IEEE is doing, how you can do your projects, capstone projects, research and everything in a testbed environment. And then everybody's talking about AI/ML, right? So while we try to secure our network better, how can AI/ML we can use AI/ML to enhance the security. At the same time, AI/ML itself can be subjected to attacks. I'll talk about that. Then I have been involved in some of the activities like future networks, where we define the roadmap, like 3-year, 5-year, 10-year things are going to look like. Connecting the unconnected, digital divide. 50% of the people in the world are not connected. So that's the example I was giving during the inaugural talk. We've been working with Vint Cerf, one of the father of the internet, how to address those. In fact, we provide challenges, CITU challenge, and there have been some award winners from India and Odisha, in fact, last few years. And the testbed, just give example of testbed. Okay, go to the next slide, please. Okay, so this slide, I wanted to show you how we have evolved on communication. If you look at the left side, we start with pigeons, horses, and my PhD advisor, I want to quote him, Professor Henning Schulzerin. He used to say that 21st century, communication is the civil engineering of 21st century. And he's very right? Because in 20th century, you saw the skyscrapers and everything. Now communication is the heart of everything. So it's affecting our human life. But if you just want to see the historic evolution, over the years, you started with the sending mails by horses or pigeons. Even now I remember people still send in some of the movies you see, like send the letters to pigeons. But then over the time, you had the telegraph, Morse code, then you see the circuit switching, and Graham Bell, 1875, had telephone. And in India, this whole PBX thing really spread around 1984, right, with CDOT. And then go to the right side, you had the public switch telephone network, PSTN, which is completely circuit switch. There is no sharing possible, although you have PBX. And then in packet switching started in 1969. Professor Len Kleinrock from UCLA, he led the foundation of packet switching. So you can share the medium, and having packets, they can go in different direction, and finally they can get assembled. So fragmentation assembly happened, right? So he had the first experiment from UCLA to Stanford Research Institute, and he sent a packet called login, L-O-G-I-N, and after L-O, things crashed, right? So that was the part of ARPANET, okay? So he did the packet switching, but you need underlying protocol to send the packet out. And that's where Bin Surp and Bob Kahn, who are the other fathers of the internet, both are IEEE medal winners last 2 years, previous 2 years, and they invented TCP/IP, right? So anybody who is using communication networking, you know what TCP/IP is, and that laid the foundation of web. And then on the right-hand side, we call it next generation internet 2020 or 2030. And so there is a wired and wireless both sides, right? You started with your Ethernet, which everybody using, IEEE 802.3, and on the wireless side, you have 802.11, which is Wi-Fi. At the same time, you have cellular revolution also, right? You go to the next slide. I want to give a little bit motivational here. So why do we need to have a new technology, right? So if you start thinking about the type of application that we're supporting, in the old days, I remember I told you I worked for Tata Engineering Locomotive as a computer engineer for 2 years, 85 to 87. And we used to have 300 bits baud modem, 1200 bits, right? So think about it, bits per second, like 300 bits per second. So we have come a long way, and that time there was no application that was requiring lots of this bandwidth, right? So this thing is an example of smart grids, smart city. So you have application like robotics at home, intelligent transportation system, smart metering, robotics, surgery, telehealth. So all of these, if you look at it, these are the application, you have to map it to KPIs, the key performance indicators. Some of them need high bandwidth, some need low latency, some need massive sensing. So you have to do that, you have to have the communication infrastructure that can support. That means you need to have things like edge cloud providing low latency. You have to have things like new radio that can give high bandwidth, massive sensing. So that's why we are advancing towards the next generation networks. Go to the next slide, please. All right, so now this slide focuses the evolution of wireless. So if you look at the extreme left side, this is where the cellular thing started. 1980, it was 1G, which is completely analog communication, and every country had different standards. And I'll talk about standards a little bit. But then 10 years, every 10 years since 1980, there has been an evolution of, like 2G is the second generation, 3G is the third generation. And if you cannot see the actual bits, if you look at it, it started with few bits, kilobits, then megabits, then gigabit like that, right? So in 2010, it was 4G, which was long-term evolution. That got deployed. And there are two standards bodies, third generation partnership program 3GPP and 3GPP2. And around 2008, 3GPP2 stopped. What are those standardization bodies? They develop actual specification that you are using today. And there are other standardization bodies too, like Internet Engineering Task Force. All the protocols you are using, your DHCP getting an IP address, STTP, you are browsing the internet, DNS for domain name system. So these are the protocols which are developed by ITF, but 3GPP defines the actual architecture that get deployed. So today we are using 5G, and that has been standardized by 3GPP, third generation partnership program. So you see in 2020, they started getting deployed. So the way it works is ITU, which is International Telecommunication Union, gives us the requirement 5 years before it starts getting deployed. So 2015, we got the requirement saying, okay, these are the applications have to be supported by 5G. So 3GPP starts working on it. In 2020, things start getting deployed. But we haven't completed the deployment yet. People have started looking into 6G, right? So in the extreme right, you have 6G. So that adds additional pillars. So 5G, you have enhanced mobile broadband, ultra reliable low latency, massive sensing, and 6G you have additional features like integrated sensing. You have converged ubiquitous network. So these are the additional things that get added with 6G. And 6G research is still going on now, right? And I'll give 2 slides about why you need 6G to begin with, right? Okay, let's go to the next slide. So this slide shows, although my talk today will be on cellular, which is, you all use cellular, we also use Wi-Fi. And this kind of shows the timeline of Wi-Fi. Hello? Yeah. Do I need to use it? Okay. Yeah. So this slide shows the coexistence of Wi-Fi, which is 802.11. I hope all of you know 802.11 Wi-Fi is a IEEE standards. And around 1995, it started getting, getting standardized. At the same time, you see that there is an evolution of cellulars. So, and this will continue to coexist. So there are a lot of interesting research there. If you're on cellular, come back to Wi-Fi, back and forth, how do you maintain seamless mobility? So that's with converged networks. So this is also important. Let's go to the next slide. Go to the next slide, please. So I'm again bringing this thing back to you to make it a point. We develop new technology because we are driven by the key performance indicators of various applications. So this slide shows some of the application can still be supported by 4G technology, right? So if you look at here, you have a latency, you have a bandwidth, then you have system control. These are all different axes. So if you have an application, think about top right, which is virtual reality, 360 virtual reality. It needs high bandwidth, low latency. If you look at bottom right, industrial automation, it needs low latency, also low bandwidth, right? But then if you look at the quadrant, the first quadrant here, there are 4G. So these are the kind of application can be supported using 4G technology. You don't have to have 5G. So similarly, when 6G, I haven't shown it, it'll have a different quadrant and your type of bandwidth, latency will be different. So the reason I'm showing this, if you have a requirement, you have to design your network accordingly to support. So 4G didn't have things like AS Cloud, for example, or network slicing, right? So 5G developed that. Now 6G has to develop additional capabilities to support the application. So keep that in mind. Every communication we are doing is end user, is the application which is driving the requirement for the next technology. Let's go to the next slide. Okay. Now, so we all have 5G in our phone. Maybe some of you have LTE because it's a long-term evolution. So you have to find the uses. Where can it be used? So this slide shows is from NGMN, Next Generation Mobile Network. There's one thing I need to tell. We are all technologists. We sometimes get so much immersed in technology, we forget about the business aspects. So it is important. I know there are a lot of entrepreneurs here and even students. You have to see how this can be used. So if we are developing a 5G technology, you have different types of use cases. Broadband access in dense area. Broadband access everywhere, like rural, high mobility, massive Internet of Things, like sensing, there are IPv6 and millions of IoTs. Extreme real-time communication, a lifeline, natural disaster, right? Something happened, the cell tower went down, how can you seamlessly move? Ultra reliable, like remote surgery type, broadcast service. So these are the very high-level services, and I'm not giving the all details. So if you open up each of these services, you will see, is it a pedestrian? Is it a car driver? So then your KPIs will be different. And if you're designing a network, you have to keep those in mind, right? I just want to make that clear. Okay, let's go to the next slide. Okay, so now 2 slides I have. Now you saw some background information why you need a new network. Now what people are now doing, they're coming up to design 6G. So what are the differentiator, what are the gaps in 5G did not have what 6G can provide? So these are some of the, and this is a slide from 6G workshop which I attended, support for new service use case. So you got to find out what are the new types of use case because you have to look at the KPIs. Revenue growth monetization. This is the business aspect. You just cannot just keep on developing the technology. You have to find the use case where it can be used. AI and automation. So they call it AI for networks, networks for AI. So how can I use AI to optimize my network? And how can I use AI to optimize the network? And how can I make my network so that AI agents can be installed, right? I can have AI agents. So that's the AI automation. Energy efficiency, sustainability. There was some talk. Professor Rao also talked about energy efficiency, green ICT, things like that. Spectrum efficiency, because so many people, how do you share the spectrum? Ubiquitous coverage, I'll give you some example of that, like terrestrial, non-terrestrial integration, cost of ownership, because if the operators are providing that service, if they have to spend less money, the end users like us will also spend less money, right? So that's important. So with software-defined networking, virtualization, when I was in AT&T, we started doing that, virtualization, many, many years back. Service reliability, experience, and simplification, because network should not be too complex. Go to the next slide. So those are the key requirements. Now, so goals, right now they're in the process of defining the specification for 6G, and the vendors will start making them ready around 2030. So IMT 2030, they have given us the requirement now, the ITU. And now the sustainability, like energy efficiency, resource consumption, resilience, in spite of distributed denial of service attacks, which I'll give some example, or performance evaluation. Think about there is a football game or soccer game going on. Everybody started turning their camera on. And at that time, there is a heavy load comes and a whole thing collapses, right? Nowadays, we can be resilient, we can add additional resources, dynamically scale it up. So even if there is a heavy load, we can still sustain. Or there is a denial of service attack. Somebody is trying to attack our network to stop the service. We can sense that, we can scale up the network dynamically while we are trying to fix the problem. So that is the resilience. Security, obviously integrity, privacy, those things, how can you make it more secure? There is always problem there. Customer experience, like ubiquitous connectivity, seamless connectivity, efficiency, optimizing your network operation with AI, and interoperability, because there are different types of end devices, and some may have Wi-Fi, some may have PSTN, some may have V4, some V6, things like that. That's also important. Let's go to the next slide. Okay, so 2 more slides I'll show about converged networks. So I'm trying to set the stage before I get to the security, because security is a very abstract thing. Sometimes it becomes boring too, right? So what I'm showing here is a converged networks. And the point I was making, if you look at the left-hand side, you have police, ambulance, and a different type of access network, like Wi-Fi, wired residential gateway, long-term evolution, which is 4G, PSTN, satellites, then on the bottom you have 5G. And if you have a code like 5G here, I'm showing, and the rest of them are non-5G, so you have to have some kind of a gateways. So this the whole interoperability thing comes to picture here. So I work on a project with Department of Homeland Security, Public Safety, and this is one of the problem they had. How can they have common code so they can communicate without any problem? So you can see somebody in police over there, at central station over there, there's a person on the street. They can, with disparate access, they can communicate. Go to the next slide. So I have an animation, but just don't start here yet. So this is an example of converged networks, and I did a lot of work with Professor Sajal Das on mobility management. This is an example of how a first responder, medical person, let's say, start from your personal area network, local area network, then go to cell tower, satellite, and during this process, this person is changing his access network. There is a standard code IEEE 822.21. Actually, Professor Sajal Das's brother, he used to be the chair, and I worked with him until Korea. So we did a lot of good work, how to maintain the session continuity and security at the same time. And that was in 2008 and 9. And that time it was very new. So now with 6G, these are coming back again, because you'll have lots of base station with high bandwidth. So you'll have the hand-up probability is much higher. So if you press the button, so in this case, the first responder is moving from personal area network to local area, moving around satellite, PSTN, sometime maybe ad hoc, sometime maybe IPv6 network. So during this process, a lot of things are happening, right? Because you're changing, and how do you maintain that continuity? When you're going in a high-speed train, you're just changing maybe the cell towers. But think about, you start from your lab, go to your, come to, over here in the room, then go to your car. So you keep changing, and you're talking to somebody, or the ambulance is doing some operation, right? So how do you maintain that? So that's another converged network. Let's go to the next slide. Okay. So I gave some little background appetite for why need a network and what is MN driver. What are you looking beyond 5G? This is a very high level, right? So let me go into 5G. I take 5G as a use case, okay? When there was no cellular infrastructure in enterprise, I remember I worked with Subir, we built a test bed, there was no cellular, and we used the whole voice over IP, SIP and everything in a complete enterprise networks. But cellular providers, what you're seeing here is option 2. On the top it says option 2. Let me tell you what that means. So right now, most of the operators have 4G. Okay. Now when they move to 5G, it's not like a Y2K problem, right? You cannot move over right away. So it has to be a transition. So 3GPP has defined 7 different transition processes. So one of them is standalone, means everything is 5G. The other one is non-standalone. That means your radio is on the left hand side. That is 5G, but rest is 4G. That's called non-standalone. But I'm not going to talk about non-standalone because that's just a implementation process. So this 5G, you have several things here. This doesn't have any ledger pointer, right? Probably not. Or does it? Okay, doesn't matter. I'll just talk through it. So if you see on the left-hand side, you have radio access network. So it is important, you should know how your phone works. So when you turn your phone on, it has to look for some cell towers. Okay, find some cell towers. Then there is something on the right-hand side called control plane. You see the core network. So it goes through that, and those are all different network functions. You know, it looks very complicated, but there has to be some way of authentication, authorization. If you're not authenticated and authorized, you cannot even send the traffic. You cannot browse the internet. So on the top side, you see those reference points like N12, N7, etc. These are reference points, and you get authenticated. Then after that, you send traffic through UPF, which is user plane function. And then you go to the internet or talk to somebody. And bottom below, you see the N3 IWF. There is a networking function. Remember I was talking about Wi-Fi? So if somebody hands over from cellular network to Wi-Fi, how can you maintain the continuity? So there is a gateway function there, okay? And they call it untrusted non-3GPP network. So now that you see, so there is a radio access network, there is end user, there is a core network, there's a roaming services like IP services. Now I'm in here, my home is AT&T, so I have to use roaming partners, right? Because I have to connect to AT&T's network. And on the left-hand side, you have different types of devices. You have IoT, you have regular phones, you have people in the defense, remote surgery, so all different kinds, right? It's not only calling, there's a lot of other things. Now let's go to the next slide. So next slide, just one more click, yes. So now I'm going a little bit deep into it. Now that you see the architecture, you have to understand, because we are all technical people here, right? How do they communicate? Think about when you're getting an IP address, you're using DHCP, Dynamic Host Control Protocol. When you're getting a domain name, domain to IP, DNS, so they have to communicate, the endpoint has to communicate, or the network function, they have to communicate to exchange information. That's called protocol, right? If you have taken data communication codes. So what I'm showing here is the mapping between your endpoints, so G node B is the access tower, and UE, and all the network functions that I showed. And they have certain protocol they have to interact with. The reason I'm showing here, if you want to make your network secure, you have to understand what protocol they're using and what are the flaws in those protocols. Only then you can secure it, right? So for example, if you see 70% of the protocols are HTTP, REST API. So if my HTTP is not secure, API is not secure, when they communicate, there is a problem. Similarly, on the top, you have NGAP. These are all protocol for control channel or GTP for user plane. So it's important to understand, open up the network, try to see what protocols they use. Only then you can do security analysis. I haven't got to security yet. Okay, let's go to security next. Let's go to the next slide. Okay, so what is security? Now, you build a network, you have a bunch of network functions, protocols, they communicate to each other. I can call somebody, you can browse the internet, things like that. But then there's a problem happens, right? Security, most of the time is an afterthought, but I'm giving you the 5 simple examples of what could happen, what a hacker can do. Denial of service, like I block the completion of mission task. I'm talking to somebody, somebody comes and just floods my network. Degradation of service, I'm using a video service, all of a sudden my quality of service goes down, right? Data manipulation, somebody comes and changes the data, right? So sometimes I have seen like hackers, they change the headers. So a call comes, it looks like as if my mom is calling or somebody else is calling, they change the data. Data exfiltration means you exfiltrate the data at rest from the server, right? That may not maybe somehow compromised. And pivoting means in a network you have so many functions, one of the function may be less secure than other. So you land in the less secure network function and then try to attack, right? Okay, let's go to the next slide. Now you know the high level view of some of the security attacks, then you have to think about risk factor. So NIST in the United States defined this function. So risk is a function of likelihood and impact. So likelihood means how likely that my network may be attacked, and impact is what is the business impact, right? If you're a university, somebody maybe migrates that impact. If somebody, AT&T operators, whether their credit card things are getting stolen. So we have to make sure the risk is down. So just keep that in mind, risk factor also. Okay, let's go to the next slide. Okay. Now, I'm going a little bit deep into security, so I'm bringing that network you saw back again, right? And now what we're going to do, we're going to see where the attacks come from. You might be thinking, okay, where the attacks will come from, and the attacks come from, how can I even solve it? So there's an end user, there's a radio access network, which is distributed now, centralized unit, distributed unit, RRH. You have edge cloud, provides you low latency. Then you have the user plane, control plane, and others. Then roaming providers, internet, right? You saw those interfaces. Now, I'll ask you to do one at a time. Please press 1. Yes. The attacks can come from the mobile endpoints. The endpoints you may or may not know may be the source of attacks. They may have malware infected. Another, it can be over the air, like jamming. Somebody may interfere. And then next one is RRH, which is remote radio head, attacks from physical. The next one, just stay there, please. Attacks with physical access to the transport. So you have mid-haul, backhaul. So when the cell tower, it comes to the data center, there are different medium it comes through. So somebody can do man-in-the-middle attack. Then edge cloud can do, edge cloud? For ultra-reliable low latency. And they have side channel attacks, things like that. Go to the next one. Attacks come from the Wi-Fi network too. You saw the interoperability, it came from there. Next. Insider attacks. So this is where the data exfiltration happens. So modification, data leakage, so somebody can take the data. The next one. So orchestration, SDN controller, these are additional pillars, but they can have additional attacks too. I'll talk about that. Then attacks can come from the internet side, even if they're firewalls. Next, last one, yes. Roaming attacks. So let's say I'm here now, some hacker can do something and my AT&T's network can be attacked. So these are the very high level points of attacks that can come from. Let's go to the next slide. So in order to take care of this, what is standard doing? So standard has to make sure there is enough security architecture in place to secure those domains. So this is 3GPP, you see the TS33501, this is about 400, 500 plus document. So they have divided in different applications, like access security domain, domain security, application domain security, and they try to come up with protocols that can help protect this, right? And I'm not going to go complete details, but there is a whole, go to the next slide, there's a whole hierarchy of key derivation. So what are those keys? The keys, initially they have to mutually authenticate. I talked about those protocols. These are different network functions, and they derive the keys for integrity and encryption, right? So your control plane security, data plane security. So these are the data in transit. Data at rest means you're storing them in the server. So the keys are derived so that any data going through is secure, right? So 3GPP has done its job. Go to the next slide. If you go to the next slide, please. So while 3GPP has defined the fundamental security architecture to protect your data in motion or data in rest, you saw 5G has additional pillars, right? You have software-defined networking. You have AI/ML, network slicing, virtualization. So what you are seeing here These are the additional enablers that make 5G different than 4G. For example, Ace Cloud provide you ultra reliable low latency. Cloud RAN, it open up the RAN so that you can be more granular, you can do dynamic resource scheduling. Software defined networking gives you the programmability. Open source API, this is again a lot of people are embracing. AI ML, slicing gives you quality of service, right? If you're a mission critical user, get better quality of service. Virtualization helps you to scale up, scale down. This is what I was telling when dynamic provision. Orchestration, like virtual network function, you can instantiate some functions. I'll give you some example. Then I know I was talking to some people here doing physical layer security, quantum step, satellite. So some of them are 6G specific, but what I'm pointing out here is while 3GPP is taking care of some of these fundamentals, these are the additional pillars that gives us the opportunities, but there are challenges. So we have to make sure if there are problems with this security, then we have to take care of. Let's go to the next slide. Okay, it's a little bit technical, but I wanted to, because I have an experimental test bed I want to show you after the results. So what you're seeing here is the initial, when a user connect, these are the things happen. So you go to the G node B or access tower, a lot of interaction you cannot see, and most of them are STTP here, but NGAP and things like that. So during this protocol interaction, the hacker can come and do bad things. That means I cannot even connect to the network. I wanted to show you the potential vulnerability of an attacker coming and doing denial of service. So this is during attach process. So once I connect, go to the next slide, you will see I start sending data. So that's in the user plane. So during this time, somebody can come and change my headers, right? The GPRS tunneling protocol. So I'm showing some potential problems here, attacks. Okay, now let's go to the next slide. So what I'm going to show next is come up with a framework that we have defined that will help to make the network resilient. So if you have attack happening, as you can see on the left-hand side, the attacks are happening from the endpoints on control plane or data plane. So if I have the ability to detect a data analytics engine and find out from where the attacks are coming, which IP, from which country, which location, then I can add, we call it dynamic service chaining, and protect and put the firewalls access control list and stop the attack, right? Or divert the attack somewhere else. But at the same time, while I'm trying to detect and mitigate, you see this control plane function like AMF and EPF, because it takes some time, right? So I have to scale up the network at the same time. So that means if I have attack coming in, and a mission critical user is using 1 gigabit per second bandwidth, he or she can still continue to do that because my network functions get overwhelmed. So this is called security as a service closed loop. I'll give you some examples, experimental results, so you get to know what is going on. Okay, let's go to the next slide. Okay, so this is an experimental result we did. Now I'm focusing on only one aspect. On the left-hand side is the control plane function, AMF. These are all different functions. Those are the reference points, N12, N22. They use STTP. On the right-hand side is user plane function. Remember that slide I showed with flows? And that's using GTPU. Go to the, press next. So here the attack, again, next. The attacks can come on AMF or EPF. Next. Yeah, so keep on pressing. Yeah, so what I'm showing the potential points of attack, and what we did a test bed, experimental results. We generated the attacks on the control plane, and see on the left-hand side, initially there was no attack. Then all of a sudden we started generating attacks because thousands attach, connect, right? So you see there is a spike. On the right-hand side, you will see how we mitigated that. So if you press the next thing, keep on pressing the next, yeah. So you see that there is a detection, there's a spike. Now, next. You do the intrusion detection, we see from where it is coming, you get the alert. See that alert tells me which IP address, which MC, IMEI. Okay, then you apply the enforcement. So we did the red control. So what we did, we detected it, and we stopped the attack, right? This is one simple example. Go to the next slide. Okay, now that was the control plane. On the user plane, what happens? You start sending lots of traffic. So on the left-hand side, you see initially 150 megabit per second traffic going. And now all of a sudden jump to 1 gigabit per second. that because there was a malware infected and they start sending a lot of traffic, which unwanted traffic, so that will affect my control function bandwidths. On the right hand side, the mitigation, if you go to the, press the slides, I mean next, yeah. So we detected there is a spike, then we do the intrusion detection, next, then alert, next, and then next, yeah, then we are able to stop it. So this is an example of closed loop automation. I give you 2 examples. You have to tell me how much time I should finish by, so that way, about what, 10 minutes? 5, 10, okay. All right, so I'll be quick then. So I won't go about too many then. So this is another example of voice over IP calls. If you're talking to somebody, you start the normal attack, then restore, right? How you do that. Go to the next slide, I'll show some results. No, previous slide. Go. Previous. Yeah, stay there. So this is another example of when the attack happens, you see the mean opinion score and packet loss. So you see those magenta color, right, or crimson color. My mean opinion score is measure of the voice. It goes down when my packet, you see that there's a spike, right? And then packet loss also goes up. Then when I stop it, it goes down. Okay, let's go to the next slide. I'll just skip that. Okay, let's just stay there. So I wanted to show the application of a technology. What is important? So Department of Homeland Security came to us. They said, we are using 4G, and we had, this is active shooter scenario, unfortunately happens in the United States, and some parts of the world also, right? So like high latency, a lot of congestion, packet drop. So they said, hey guys, do you think 5G can help? So this is where you have to think what 5G cannot do, 6G can do, or 4G cannot do, 5G can do. So go to the next slide. We did a gap analysis. I said, okay, you have problem with 10-second delay, we can use Edge Cloud. You have problem with congestion, software-defined networking, network function virtualization can help. You have quality of service problem, you can use network slicing to take care of. So what I'm showing here is you have to have a methodical way to think about it. Okay, go to the next slide. So what we did, just keep pressing stuff. So we emulated something in the network in the lab. You see there was one call, then multiple calls, then we started instantiating additional things, and I'll show you a nice demo. So go to the next slide. The second one was low latency, keep on pressing. You have 10-second delay. Then we instantiated the Edge Cloud user plane function and brought it down to 5 milliseconds. So what I'm showing here is using 5G technology, we're able to do that. Go to the next slide. Okay, this slicing. Slicing provides you quality of service. So we have end-to-end quality of service. So we provided specific slice to a specific user that needs high bandwidth, high memory, etc. So these 3 things we did. Go to the next slide. Okay, so you got to play this. There should be a play button there. Do you see a play button? Yeah. So this is something we did in IEEE 5G 6G testbed. This will give you a visual thing of what we did. So we have orchestrator, IDS, we use OpenPipe.js, and Grafana and Kubernetes. So I've been talking to Professor Singh and Professor Das about, if you get a trial or things like that. So, and these are the demo components. What you're seeing, there's some screenshot of how we generated the attacks, and we're able to see the attacks, and then we instantiated the intrusion detection system, and then we're able to stop the attack, right? So exactly what I was showing, but this is the real demo which we recorded. One of the example of how to make the network resilient. So while I'm detecting the attack and mitigating it, I'm also instantiating additional network functions. See that denial of service attack I'm doing. This is on the control plane. And then while I'm stopping it, maybe I have 1 AMF, I bring it up to 5, then attack subsides, I bring it down to 1, right? So this is called resilience. So the traffic storm is confirmed, the malicious user identified, we mitigated them, and then we scale it down. So instead of 5 AMF, we brought it down to 1, whatever it was. So this is the control plane. I'll show you another demo, which is on the API side. Okay, now let's go to the next slide. Okay, play that. There should be a play button. Okay, so this is called Camara API. Remember, I'm talking about degradation of service. Think about there is a streaming happening, in this case, a NASA rocket launch, and somebody comes and does some bad things to the network, and the video quality degrades. So in that situation, what will happen? So I have to have a way to detect that, and in this case, we are seeing an IP. If you know IP well, there's something called deep serve code point that provide the quality of service. So I can mark those important packets, the mission critical users, so that they can, that can be maintained. So you see the video quality suffers because somebody came and saturated the network by doing denial of service attack. So at that point, we detected that, and we went ahead and changed the parameters from that specific flow, right? So the quality of service, that flow remained even if there was an attack happening. So this is an example of how dynamically you adapt to make sure your quality of service is maintained even if there is attack. So in this case, before congestion, during congestion, and priority DSCP marking, right? So these are three different things. So this example I was showing how to dynamically provision. Okay, I think what I'll maybe give me like 2-3 minutes, I'll finish it because I want to make a, okay, let's go to the next slide. Just skip through it. Okay, just stay there. So what is happening is, go to the previous slide. So what I'm showing here is, when you look at the network architecture, you have to do a threat analysis. And the first two things, if I am a hacker, like loss of availability, confidentiality, integrity, loss of control. The second column is, if I am a hacker, how do I do that? So if you know that, then how hacker can do in the RAN, a radio access network, it can do a lot of things in jamming. So I know how to attack the network, then I have to mitigate them, right? So this is called threat taxonomy on the radio access network. You go to the next slide, you're moving right to the core. So core network has different types of protocols. So the first two are SAM, the middle one, because this is core protocol, right? So your things are different, your mitigation techniques are different. I go to the next slide. Then you move to the right is voice over NR, which is SIP application, right? Here, the first two columns are still remaining same, but attack description is different. This is telephony denial of service attack, TDOS, right? Mostly SIP and RTP. And your mitigation technique will be different. Okay, let's fast forward. Okay, now just keep 10-15 seconds on each. I'll just show. So you have to look at open source API security. That's one thing we have to think about. Go to next. Supply chain security. You have to make sure from where your things are buying, there may be traps. Next. All right, SDN controller. So SDN controller is a good thing, it provides you programmability, but it may be attacks through northbound or southbound. Go to the next slide. I'll go through very quickly, just stay there for maybe 15 seconds. So there are potential opportunities, potential attacks on the SDN, how it's going to affect the users, the types of attacks, the risk severity, mitigation. So this is how you got to approach to make sure. Next one is slicing. Slicing provides you quality of service. Go to the next slide. It's the same thing, potential opportunities, attacks, how it's affecting the users, and risk severity. So for example, a risk severity is red, I have to add additional security control to make it green, right? So go to the next. Open RAN, this is another enabler. So you see the whole radio access network is disaggregated. You go to the next slide. So that provides a lot of opportunities, like edge detection, dynamic radio resource scheduling, but along with that, there are potential attacks that we have to think about. Okay, next. Edge cloud gives us reliable latency, right? But by doing that, I'm storing a lot of security in the context edge cloud, right? So that means the trade-off is I'm getting reliable low latency, but yeah, go to the next slide. So you see the cache poisoning, cache overwhelming. So these are the kind of attacks I have to be worried about and have proper mitigation. Go to the next. Okay, 2 slides. So STTP, remember I talked about STTP and why it is important, because protocols have security problems. So FCC, CISRIC has come up with several CBE. These are the security parameters. You see those numbers. So we have to make sure STTP is secure, because you see this is heart of 5G now. Go to the next. GTP, which is user plane. So GTP is another protocol. So you have to think about protocol security. Next. API, REST API, right? So these are again the main ingredients of the whole communication. So these are, okay, I think let's move forward. All right, so maybe 2 slides on AI/ML because I didn't talk about it at all. So AI/ML, obviously everybody is using it. How can I use it for 5G? So one thing is enhanced user experience, RAN intelligence, core intelligence, operation intelligence. These are the performance related. Go to the next slide. Why do you need AI/ML for security, right? So most of the security problems that I told today are rule-based, manual threat analysis, perimeter-based security, mostly access control. So if you go to the next slide, how AI/ML can help. So one of the main challenges, as I said, massive data volume, high dimensional data network complexity. Go to the next slide, previous slide, yeah, heterogeneous device. So these are the security challenges. Now how AI/ML can help? We go to the next slide. So these are different ways: enhanced intrusion detection, threat prediction. So before even attack happens, how can I predict? Malware detection, federated learning. So these are different enablers of AI/ML that can help augment the security posture. Go to the next slide. Okay, these are all examples. I'll send you the slides, description, go down. Yeah, stay there. So what you're doing now, if I have to use AI/ML to secure my networks, you have a 5G infrastructure, then you have to come up with some model, right? So data collection model, data preparing, machine learning, security modeling, and finally, you apply it some kind of automated way. So go to the next few slides. Yeah, these are more examples. Just go to the previous slide. The one thing I wanted to tell, while you take advantage of AI/ML to secure my network better, the adversarial ML, that means that may be malicious, right? So if you go to the next slide, so these are the type of attacks that can happen, adversarial AI/ML, poisoning, supply chain. So if we have to look at those, we need to have defense mechanism for each of those. So if you go to the next slide, these are the attack type. Just like I told the threat mitigation from the previous ones on the traditional security, here AI/ML itself can be attacked. So you need to have proper mechanism for that. Okay, next slide. All right, so yeah, just skip that. Yeah, just go to the previous slide because there are a lot of students. Go to the previous slide, please. The previous, yeah. So future networks, this is where I think I'm talking about. If you want to get involved, you can talk about roadmap, 3-year, 5-year, 10-year, so you can all join. I just want to give you some place. Go to the next slide. Testbed I talked about. So here, what we are doing, there are bigger testbed in India. Also, you have bigger testbed, right? You can do your testbed at your institution, then you connect. In this case, I'm showing how you connect to Cosmos, Powder. These are NSF testbed. So you can do scalability, feasibility, etc. Go to the next slides. Skip. Yeah. So this is the IEEE 5G 6G testbed, which I showed some examples how it is important for academics to get access. And I know I've talked to Professor Singh and other folks from other academic institution. Please let me know. I'm one of the co-chair for this. Go next. Okay, I think we go skip. Yeah, so this is just stay there. The Future Networks World Forum, that's happening in Bangalore. We're bringing it back again. September 10th is the deadline. If you want to submit a paper, I know some faculty have submitted workshop or panel, please do that. I'm one of the founding co-chair for that. Then connecting the unconnected, this is where I work with Dr. Vince Surf. That's also happening in Bangalore. There are challenges. We give 20 prizes every year, how to reduce the digital divide. Go to the next slide. Okay, I have just 2 slides, I'm done. So here, in short summary, I was trying to say the evolution of networks, and in this case I focused on 5G. And there are still lots of challenges, right? Anytime things get deployed, and some of the technical barriers are spectrum sharing, security, mobility. I gave some example of that. Radio frequency layer, performance issues, operational complexity, microservice, open source, service-based architecture, cultural barriers that have subsided a little bit. Digital divide is still there. 6G comes, it doesn't mean that everybody gets access. Policy barriers, supply chain interoperability, vendor interoperability, spectrum thing, this is still a researchy thing, dynamic spectrum sharing, etc. Go to the last slide. So, so my whole talk was, sorry, I rushed a little bit. So if you want to have a new network, that's all driven by applications. So there has to be adaptive, flexible, resilient to support the emerging application, right? And then we focused on security. So anytime there is a new architecture, new technology, you have new enablers like in 5G we showed, and that provided resilience, automation, etc. But that comes with some trade-off. There are additional security issues that we have to think about. So how do we approach that? You have to do a systematic analysis, which I showed, open up the whole network, do a threat taxonomy, think about you're a hacker, and then find out how you can mitigate that. So you need some security controls, do some kind of a risk analysis, best practice, and then there are things like AI, ML, which is coming up now. How do you enhance it? And finally, the collaboration, the kind of thing we are doing here, conference, standards, test beds are important for act like catalyst. I think I'll just stop there. And thank you for listening. And I'll make this slides available so you can take a look. I don't know we have time for questions, so maybe not. But I'll be available for lunchtime or anything, or unless there is a compelling question.
Thank you so much, sir. We have little time for questions. We can take up one or two, and others can interact during the lunch session. Any questions, please?
Yeah, sure, please. Good question. So I think you're right. So what I was showing there is interoperability. They may not have 5G access, and they may have to use some kind of a mesh or something and finally go to 5G. You know, that is one option. Or they may have to use satellite and then use 5G core, right? So that is the access part and coverage. So it varies, yeah. Yeah. So the example I showed, the converged networks, right? So that's where lack of access or complete zero, you can buffer the traffic a little bit. You know, those kind of things you can do.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Is that done? Maybe. Yeah. Question. One more question. Hardware technology behind the communication, 6G communication. Yeah. So I didn't talk too much about hardware here. I mean, one of the thing is massive MIMO. I just give you an example of massive MIMO, beamforming. These are the things that appear on the radio access network side, right? Yeah.
And along with the semiconductor devices.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So when you are doing the, okay. So now we are getting into whole CHIPS Act kind of thing. So if you want to make, I show the supply chain security, right? So you have chips everywhere, but you want to support massive MIMO, beamforming. So those are the kind of things you have to develop new hardware technology to support and optimize the communication, right? So that's what semiconductor obviously is the heart of everything. It has to happen. I didn't go deep into that, but you have to design, like NVIDIA is doing all the GPU-based AI, ML, enhanced GPU. So you have to, that's an important research topic here. We can talk maybe during the break, because I know we are delayed.
You can example with respect to the power consumption.
Right.
Power consumptions and speed of operations,
right,
and
yes,
frequency.
Absolutely.
Operating frequency.
Energy efficiency is important. Sustainability, energy efficiency, that's important.
Power consumption is related with the efficiency.
Energy efficiency, right.
So many parasitic effects come into the semiconductor devices when it is operated very high frequency operations.
Right.
For any 5G or 6G communication systems. Noise, SNR, signal to noise ratio may be important.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, again, you call it the bit per joule per energy, whatever that is,
Okay.
right? So you got to figure out how much energy you're spending during transmission or receive, right? So that's an important area of research. Future Network, we have a group called Energy Efficiency is looking into some of those. We can talk after the break, okay? You're doing research on that, I guess, right, in the energy efficiency. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So I hope all the participants in the audience are highly benefited, learning more of the 5G use cases, application, enabling technologies, and the future 6G enabling technologies going to happen in 2030, so soon. So all of us, we have listened very carefully, and definitely some research directions have opened up also for the participants. Now, let me appreciate Professor Datta's talk and present him the certificate of recognition. Sir. So thank you, Dr. Datta. Now we are going to have our second keynote by Professor Sajal Das, and I invite Professor Poonam Singh to give a brief for Dr. Sajal Das. Sir, please come to the dais.
So Dr. Sajal Das is the Curator's Distinguished Professor and Daniel St. Clair Endowed Chair in Computer Science at Missouri University of Science and Technology. He served as a Program Director in the US National Science Foundation. His interdisciplinary research spans cyber physical systems, IoT, UAVs, wireless sensor networks, cyber security, machine learning, data science, mobile and pervasive computing, smart environments, edge computing, social and biological networks, applied graph theory, and game theory. So such a wide area of research. He has made fundamental contributions to these areas and published extensively in top-tier venues, more than 350 journal articles and more than 450 peer-reviewed conference papers. His H-index is 102 with more than 44,000 citations, according to Google Scholar. Dr. Das co-authored 60 book chapters and 4 books. Smart Environments, Technology Protocols and Applications, Handbook on Securing Cyber-Physical Critical Infrastructure, Foundations and Challenges, Mobile Agents in Distributed Computing and Networking, and Principles of Cyber-Physical Systems, and Interdisciplinary Approach. A holder of 5 US patents, he directed over $24 million funded research projects. He is the founding editor-in-chief of Elsevier's Pervasive and Mobile Computing Journal and serves as associate editor of IEEE Transactions on Sustainable Computing, IEEE Transactions on Dependable and Secure Computing, ACM Transactions on Sensor Networks, and ACM IEEE Transactions on Networking. A founder of IEEE PERCOM, WOWMOM, SmartComp, and ACM ICD-CN conferences. He has served as General Chair and Program Chair of reputed conferences. Dr. Das is a recipient of 14 Best Paper Awards in flagship conferences like ACM Wicom and IEEE PERCOM, and numerous awards for teaching, mentoring, and research, including the IEEE Computer Society's Technical Achievement Award for pioneering contributions to sensor networks, and the University of Missouri System President's Award for Sustained Career Excellence. He has mentored and graduated 12 postdoctoral fellows, 51 PhD scholars, 31 MS theses, and numerous undergraduate research scholars and colleagues around the world. Currently, he is supervising 10 PhD students and 4 postdocs. Dr. Das is a distinguished alumnus of the Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore, and a fellow of the IEEE National Academy of Inventors and Asia Pacific Artificial Intelligence Association. And today he is going to give a talk on from smart sensing to smart living, the era of IoT, AIML, and data science. So let us give a huge round of applause for Dr. Sajal Das.
Can you hear me from the back? Yes? Good afternoon, good afternoon. I was not expecting Professor Poonam Singh to read the entire bio, which is there on the website. But nevertheless, my talk is over because I was supposed to start at 11:45 and finish in 12:30. So maybe I should just finish in 1 minute. But nevertheless, thanks very much to Professor Sushmita Das and Professor Poonam Singh for the kind invitation to come to NIT Rourkela. This is my first time. I have had some interactions with Dr. Sushmita Chinara in Computer Science and Engineering Department, but that never materialized. Eventually, I'm here. And it's good to speak actually after the distinguished alum of this institute, Dr. Ashutosh Datta, who is just like my brother because he worked with my brother and we wrote some papers and patents together as well. Similarly, the General Chair, Dr. Sudhir Mishra, is a good collaborator. We publish papers together. So let me just start. So what I'll be doing, maybe I'll just present in 35 minutes a guided tour and tell you some story of what we are doing. I'll not go into the details or anything because time is not there. But as you know, the devils are in the details. So if you're interested, we can always talk about those devils later. I'll be here all day. You can read the papers. So let's just start. I'm just keeping an eye on the time. How many of you are students here? You can raise your hands. How many of you are students? I thought we are all students forever. Right? Right? Who is not sleeping? Who is not sleeping? Okay, good. I want to have some warm-up session. So what I'm going to talk is up to 1:30? So I'm standing between you and the lunch. Okay, good. So I'll be giving you a guided tour of the story of 3 decades of work that we have been doing. So it will not be one specific thing. I want to give you a broad vision of different things that we are doing, very interdisciplinary. And this cuts across computer science and engineering, electrical engineering, electronics and communication engineering, and even beyond. You'll see that, okay? Okay, all right. And some of the things that you see over here, some of my students and postdocs, they started some startup companies on the health side, on the agriculture side, and I'll give some presentation as well. So this is one slide for my institute, Missouri University of Science and Technology, which is a STEM-focused school, just like NIT, IIT, ISC. Only 7,500 students focused in science and engineering. Everything else is supporting department, just like any tech school that you see. Okay, I'll move around. Actually, I use that mic as well whenever we need. Our students build a lot of interesting stuff and go for competitions. So, for example, this year they become the Mars rover first prize winner. Okay, so a lot of interesting things. The campus is very beautiful. If you get an opportunity, please come and visit. I'll be very happy to host students, faculty, any collaborators. And Jack Dorsey, the co-founder of Twitter, was a student in our department. So let's see whether this thing will work or not. Okay. So the title is From Smart Sensing to Smart Living. What do I mean by that? We have been working on, others have been working on, probably since 2000 onwards, designing different types of smart environments, like smart home, smart health, smart building, smart school, whatever, right? All these things are very, very important, and that takes advantage of technologies like device technology, smart sensing, IoT, which is now, networking technology, intelligent networking, different types of algorithms, applications. But what we have been looking at about last 10 years or so, which is very much to the theme of this particular conference, right? That human aspects and also sustainable computing, that all these things are less important unless it improves our quality of life, unless the society becomes more safe and secure. That's why the smart living is coming. It's not only infrastructure. Who cares about the bridge or the airport which is smart? Of course it's important. Does it help us? So players are not just the network or the systems or the buildings. We are also the players in this whole game. So you can do game theory modeling and all, okay? So what we do, we basically solve problems. Is this one working? The pointer, yeah. Maybe I have to just point it on that direction. I'll stand on that side. So what we do, very simple. Are you able to hear me? Okay, good. So that way, good, because I'm closer to that. So what we do, develop intelligence into the system. So smartness will not come unless you build intelligence. And it does not have to be just machine learning and AI. There are many different ways to build intelligence into the system. And somebody basically mentioned that, okay, how do you think? So sensing means I'm collecting data. Perception. Reasoning means I'm building intelligence into the system and reasoning about it. And that's where the powerhouse is. You develop algorithms, models, right? To analyze the data, predict certain events that might happen, and take actionable decisions. I take an action, and I make a decision which is trustworthy. That's the sensing. And this sensing, reasoning, control. Control is basically I'm making an actuation. For example, I'm monitoring somebody's health condition. I find some anomaly that there's a health risk. Then, of course, their actions could be, okay, send the person to the doctors, call paramedics, give medicine. That's the action. So sensing, reasoning, controls. So question is, how do I monitor somebody's health condition and detect anomalies which could be potential health risk? Even the patient may not even know that they are going through some heart arrhythmia. Okay, so that's what it is. So applications are different types of applications. You can think this is not exhaustive. Okay, so the space that we work on, it is not just one paper we are talking about. Again, like more than 3 decades of my academic experience through different collaborators, students, faculty, colleagues, the sensing, reasoning, sensing, networking, computing, and applications is our forte. Okay? We solve fundamental problems. Our research is a blend of theory and practice. Okay? So we have done a lot of work on high-performance computing, wireless networking, mobile computing, then progressive computing. Now we say smart computing. Okay? That's the space we work on. You can see the different types of sensing: external sensors, camera sensors, drone sensors, human perception and sensors. So you just think about the modalities that you want to consider. And then once you get huge amount of data, eventually you have to process it. That's why different types of models, algorithms, optimization, AI, all these things have to be there. And then eventual goal is to apply this technology, device technology, networking technology, algorithmic technology, to make our lives better. And it's a smart home, smart city, smart energy, smart transportation, agriculture, whatever you can think. So different types of theory you can adapt, but thing is that they may not be sometimes translatable in an easy way because you're dealing with small devices, very resource hungry in terms of CPU, storage, energy, bandwidth, everything. So how do you really adapt, or you create your own? And you can see that this is not a vertical layering, just I depicted for understanding, but we have to make sure everything is secured, reliable. Right? That's why you see that other thing that is there. And also, since humans are involved, how do you take into human behavior? How do I incentivize people to behave in the right certain way? And all of these things. So that's why that's human behavior, economics, games, auctions, incentivization come in the picture. So prospect theory, for example, is one of the theories that one can use for socio-economic modeling of human behavior. And there are other techniques that are also there. Okay? So this is the space we work on. Now, you hear about cyber-physical systems, CPS and IoT, right? So we call also cyber-physical human systems because you have physical environment like an agricultural field or human body. I'm collecting a lot of data for that environment. That becomes your cyber side. And then if human is also part of the game, you have a cyber-physical human, strong interactions, very intricate interactions. Now, different applications of the verticals that you see on the left side and right side. And we'll pick some of them. Okay, whether it's energy sector, transportation sector, mobility, or water distribution network, health, all of this in agriculture. The different applications are there. The thing that we work on, we collaborate with the different domain experts. That's why research is very much interdisciplinary. Also, we develop the models which cuts across multiple fields of CPS and IoT domains. Okay, so I don't have to work into silos. IoT is more like sensing devices, actuation devices, a very micro level concept. When you build a smart health application, smart agricultural application, grid application, it becomes macro level concept as CPUs. So IoT actually enables, challenges are huge because uncertainty is huge. You're collecting some data from agricultural field, weather is bad, your sensing is not good, right? There's a huge wind, your camera picture is very blurry. Your communication fluctuates in the wireless stochastic fluctuation of the thing, so you can think uncertainty is huge. So you may not be able to get the right kind of data to make a very dependable inferencing. Your models should not be that accurate. You may have missing information, incomplete information, so you have to deal with all this uncertainty. It's very interesting. And scale is also very large depending on what you talk about. So the challenges, these are very mathematical fundamental challenges. I'm just summarizing what is happening. You can assume any of these environments are a very stochastic complex system. Think of a smart city. It's a conglomeration of different smart environments, like you need energy, you need transportation, you need water distribution network or gas distribution utility company, right? You need people's health. The city, but if you go beyond the city, agriculture, supply chain, food security, all these things are important, right? So it's a very complex system. Physics are different. Electrical energy, electromagnetic theory. Transportation, flow equations. Water distribution network, you talk about the pressure on the valves and the junctions. Health, biochemical reaction. Physics are different. The good news is that when you collect data, then your approach becomes data-driven approach. And there are a lot of things that you can do from mathematical and statistical learning that cuts across this field. Because there's a lot of commonality. So you can hide the physics behind it. That's what we are talking about, how to define unified mathematical invariance, which cuts across different fields. But large variation of the time series, that is the key part. So fluctuations could be very high. When there are fluctuations, they're classifying by machine learning algorithm, becomes a little tricky. Okay, I cannot say, okay, this is the normal behavior, this is not normal behavior because your latitude is too large. And mathematically what it means, if you think this is stochastic process, random process, is there's no mathematical stationarity that you can quantify that easily unless you're very careful in terms of doing the math behind it. And there's a lot of spatiotemporal correlation. So these are the things that we do, and that's why the papers are for, but I'm not going to go into the details to make things very heavy duty. So you can see different types of applications you can actually think of. On this side. Now, this is the slide I just generated last night because I thought I've been very fortunate to collaborate with different institutes in India. And this is not just in, okay, I just visit, you just visit. We write papers together, we co-supervise students together, we exchange visits. They're real collaboration. And I'm very fortunate because lots of these institutes that we have collaborated with, and then of course different Gyan courses. I'm a Vajra faculty at IIT Kharagpur, I'm a Spark faculty at IIT Wali. All of these things are happening. And ISC has been treating me also very well, and these are the different students who came to do PhD with me from India, from different institutes. What is missing in this table? I'll ask questions one time. What is missing in this chart? Huh? Exactly. So this should not be my first visit, or not the last visit. So I need NIT Rourkela to be on that map as well. Very good, thank you. I should have chocolate to throw. So what we do, so different types of theory we develop. And again, I'm not going to burden you with those things. Our research is a combination of theory, practice, actual demonstration as well. It's a socio-technical research, basic research, applied research, translational research. And you'll see some of the pictures that we'll be showing later in the video. Now let's just, these pillars are not unique because you can put agriculture there, you can put something else there, right? Health there. So this is the pie chart I'll be using. So think about a smart city, as I mentioned, is a collection of different types of CPS and IoT systems. You need energy, you need transportation, but there's no commonality in terms of the physics. But when it comes to data collection, you have lots of interesting things that you can do. Data science approach, data-driven approach, develop models, machine learning, and other models. So let's just focus on this, then I'll also bring agriculture, which is not a city type of environment. So what are you doing there? So basically, this was the thing, and we said this is like smart living in a connected world. the world is connected with different types of networking and other technology, right? In that, let's focus on what are we doing in terms of smart grid. We're doing many different things, but mostly looking at in a smart grid, what you have, energy generation plants, distribution through tension lines, high tension lines, and then the consumption. Consumption is very interesting because in a smart grid, you have IoT or smart meter to capture the energy consumption of your buildings, apartments, offices, and all. And that's where the time series data is coming. You can capture the data depending on the frequency of data collection that you want to do. Very interesting. The question is that, is your smart meter being hacked? Are you paying higher bills? So these are the things that we look at. What is the anomaly that we see? That are you paying more bills than somebody else's? Or somebody else is capturing them? So our goals over here is anomaly detection, AMI, which is advanced metering infrastructure, false data injection attacks, different types of attacks that we look at. The left side you see the AMI infrastructure. And if you have an attack in the system or failure in the system, the ramifications are huge. That's what actually you see all the things that happen. So somebody's paying higher bills, somebody's doing something else, and I alter the demand response. There's a blackout, which is load shedding that you call. In the US, we say blackout or brownout. Now, of course, we're developing different types of methodology for this time series data analytics, anomaly detection, state estimation, trustworthy decision making, IML, incentivization. How do you incentivize people so that they behave the right way? And different types of data sets that we have, either we have collected or some open source large data set we have used to analyze, and we have written lots of journal papers, conference papers on that. So this is the thing which will give us come in that thing. So I'll go quickly over there. Now let's look at the mobility. Mobility, transportation go together. Pedestrian mobility, vehicular mobility, aerial mobility. That could be your aerial commercial vehicles, drones. Right? So in that space, so we're still looking for different types of anomalies, traffic accidents, congestion, right? Potholes, all of this kind of stuff. So again, you're collecting the data through sensors on the road or the roadside units, also sensors in the vehicles for V2V type of communication. Then you're looking for anomalies so that you can actually protect the system very, very well. Now, different types of data sets that, because you need good data sets, you need good ground truth data, so you can validate your models, right? So you can see that that's a very crowded city where you have, the question is that you have different types of technologies. Sometimes you do onboard communication, the vehicles or the RSU are sent to the cloud, and then you make a decision, then okay, the drivers get that prompt, either I take a diversion or whatever. Now, the different methodologies that you're using, again, each of them, I can actually give a talk for each of these topics for an hour, but I'm actually skipping that with the overview, right? Now let's look at the water distribution network. Again, what are the anomalies? There's a leakage and contamination is going through what is a very vital component of our life, right? Or somebody is injecting something to jeopardize, right? So in general, the water distribution network, what you have, smart distribution, you also have sensors, just like smart meters, water meters, and they just check the volume of the water that goes through the junctions and how it goes out, so ingress and outgress. You can do lots of interesting stuff. This is that's the architecture. And again, you're looking for unsafe events, because if water is contaminated, if there's a leakage, either you're paying higher bill or your life is at stake. Now, we are doing a lot of stuff. I'll just skip those things so that you can at least see the quadrants up there. We're doing a lot of work on the smart health. Physical health, physiological health, as well as cognitive health. What do you mean by cognitive health? Somebody has a brain impairment, memory loss, going to dementia, leading to Alzheimer and Parkinson's. Okay, so we work with the clinicians, doctors, MD, neurologists, neuropsychologists, but we have wearable devices. You see that this is deployment in the hospital. Patients come, doctors, we just mask their faces. We develop a wearable, detect different kind of physiological. Give the smart chair with sensor lining in the backrest as well as on the seat, so you can get additional information beyond what clinicians, doctors, and nurses do. Okay, here the ground truth mostly come for the brain imaging or MRI. That's what we do. So let me just play a video over here. So can you click on this YouTube, please? And I hope that we tested it, that you can hear. This is on the cognitive side. Play the video. The network connectivity is there, right? It should come.
Did you know 1
You
in
can
10
just go to the full
Americans
screen.
over 65 is living with dementia, and there are over 65 million caregivers for people with dementia in the USA alone? This staggering number inspired Team 3732 to join the National ICOR program to explore ways we can help both caregivers and those who are living with dementia. Over the past few months, we have conducted 100+ interviews with neurologists, psychoneurologists, executive officer, directors, caregivers, and family members. We traveled across 10+ states, including in-person visits to Miami and Maryland, to meet stakeholders and truly understand the challenges they face. We learned how neurologists use biomarkers for early detection and how caregivers are helping individuals stay active, sometimes even slowing down the cognitive decline. And we uncovered surprising insights, for example, how something as simple as brushing your teeth might reduce the dementia risk.
But one thing became painfully clear. Most people declare dementia too late. There is a critical lack of ease of use accessible tools. In places like veterans' homes, early signs are often overlooked due to subjectivity, limited expertise, and lack of access to specialists like neurologists, neuropsychologists, or verbal examiners. That is why our team is now laser focused on veterans' memory care facilities. We are looking at a non-invasive, easy-to-use, expert-free, and accurate solution, one that continuously collects data to enable immediate intervention, improve quality of life, and slow down cognitive decline. This is just the beginning of our journey, but we are committed to making a real difference. A huge thanks to NSF ICOP and our dedicated team for lighting the path forward.
Close the YouTube and go to the slides. You can put a slideshow mode. So that was on the smart health side, right? It was an innovation project that we had. Now let's focus on a particular thing which is also very much at my heart. So we talked about different things in a smart city or smart urban area environment. Mobility also is important. Health is also important in different contexts. Energy, water distribution, those things, but you don't see an agricultural farms and fields in the urban setting. So let's now look a little bit on that, the very interesting things that we are doing. So we also interact with the farmers. In the US, corn and soybean are very predominant. So we talk to the farmers and also. So use inspired basically means that we get the requirements. We are doing basic research, applied research, translational research, and this also led to a startup company, my postdoc and PhD students, they started. And we are using different types of sensing modalities on the ground sensing, soil sensing, nutrient sensing, temperature sensing, humidity sensing, okay, as well as camera sensing on the ground vehicles mounted on the pole, drone sensing with camera and other kind of things. So you can say this is our actually research that we have been doing in terms of a particular problem that we'll be focusing on, automated pest detection, insect detection. So some insects are so tiny that standard computer vision and image processing algorithm think that they're dust, they're noise. So question, how do you improve those situations, right? So we are doing that, and also not only that, in the US the fields are very large, hundreds of acres, very few farmers. So by manual inspection or scouting, you cannot detect whether a certain part of the field has been infested or not. Okay? Even if you see only few right now, it is time that we call pest pressure. I mean, how is it building? Is it multiplying very fast? Is it propagating to other parts of the field or not? Right? So and precision agriculture basically means that I apply the pesticide, herbicide, or nutrients, fertilizer in a very precise manner so that the good crops don't get killed, or I don't use excessive chemicals. So we're doing precision agriculture. And some of the prototypes that we have built, you can see that in the bottom, and that's actually the deployment that we have. And the different things we have to do. Ultimate goal is again smart living, how to improve the quality of lives of the farmers so that they have a better crop yield, not infected crops that they can not sell, and also better revenue. That's the whole goal. And of course, you see that all the things that you can do by computer science, electronics engineering, different research that you can do. So we had a paper last year in December, IEEE Computer magazine, where we just give the synopsis of the thing that you have been doing, and different projects, different journal conference papers, and that's a very good one to read. We talk about not just isolation deployment of these devices and prototypes, but how to network them through communications, right? So we actually have developed things because smart connected firms use wireless technology. Even in US, in the rural areas, the broadband connectivity is very sparse. It's not there. Cellular communications, they're not like I can send images and lots of data. So we use LoRa modules, LoRa communication technology, and some others as well. And we'll see that. So basically, this is the actual prototype, and of course, eventually the farmers don't understand what goes on behind the scene. You have apps that you can feed them information, or a web portal, so that they know what to do. And we work with the farmers directly so that they understand what we are doing, and they can also support us in the evaluation. We have been collecting a lot of data, as you can see the cornfield. And this is the prototype that we have built. They're very nicely packaged over here, that you see. But cross-section that you see inside, what is in there? LoRa module is there, different types of sensors are there, cameras are there. So that's the intersection of all the things that we package very nicely using the 3D printer cases and all, because we have to deploy in the wild so that they don't get damaged in the water. Rain, ice, snow, wind, and stuff, very sturdy. You can see that the thing that we have deployed for the soybean. And in the pest detection, what happens? There are different technologies people use, or methodologies. A sticky trap is one. Just like, let's say, at home you have mice or rat, and you have some traps that you put, right? So see, a sticky trap basically means that there's a glue in the thing, and when the insect go, they get stuck. Okay, and you can take the images and you can see how many insects are there at different times and samples, right? You have to also distinguish, is it the kind of insect that will be harmful to the crop, or is it just a fly or something? So all these classifications are really good. But anyway, so we have done that. And of course, once you have the data and all this, you collect image data, other kind of data, you go through different machine learning models, so CNN one. So I have a video that you want to play that. That our journey. So we are computer scientists, but you can see that how you can do interesting stuff.
In 2019, at the NSF Cyber-Physical Systems PI meeting, a team of researchers from agronomy, computer science, network communication, and mechanical engineering came together with a bold question. How can we transform pest monitoring from a manual burden into an intelligent system while increasing growers' income? What started as an idea soon evolved into smart and connected farms. In collaboration with an agricultural economist, analyst, and social scientist, a vision for securely sharing data across farming communities. The NSF recognized this cross-disciplinary effort and awarded the team $1.5 million. We developed early prototypes with smart sensors, performed field testing, and designed AI models. In 2023, an entrepreneurial team from Missouri S&T was selected into the NSF I-Core program and awarded $50,000 for customer discovery. The team traveled across 7 states and interviewed more than 100 agri-tech stakeholders. We refined and tested our prototype, moving closer to a scalable solution farmers could trust and adopt. In 2024, S&T deployed a prototype in soybean farms with Iowa Soybean Association for collecting pest data, validating models, and proving our technology under real conditions. Then came a major milestone. We partnered with Purdue University for entomological validation, Bayer Crop Science to align with real-world crop protection needs, and Microsoft for digital agriculture tools, and secured the NSF Partnership for Innovation Commercialization Grant of $1 million, a pivotal step that recognized our progress and fueled what comes next. Our AI-powered digital agriculture platform is designed to empower decision makers with real-time insights, privacy-first design, and seamless field integration. This is more than a prototype. It's the beginning of a new paradigm in digital integrated pest management, built on science, scaled through partnerships, driven by purpose. We're just getting started. In 2019, at the NSF Cyber-Physical...
So that's the crop that you see on the field, right? Cotton, watermelon, cucumbers, corn, soybean. We are doing different types of testing and data collection, right? But what about orchards? You have large trees, right? So the ground soil sensors, of course, are important, but camera, even though you mount on a pole, you you may not be able to reach. And even if you get 180-degree vision through going to the aisle, not the 360-degree. So you have the camera sensing by UGVs, unmanned ground vehicle, UAV, the drone, 360-degree vision, and different types of soil sensing. You fuse the information to get the context and the situation, how severe it is. So this is the thing that we have deployed, because I had a PhD student and postdoc from Italy, University of Perugia. He's a faculty now there. So his father has a grapevines, orchard fields. We thought that that's the best thing, because you need to get the farmers to agree on that. So basically, he collected the data through his father's farmer's field. And this is a real deployment that we had. Okay? So then, of course, you look at the bugs in the orchard. So you know how the orchards are grown, like either the grapevines or even trees. So if good farmers, they basically deploy them. This is just artistic, but mostly they're very lined cultivation and plantation, right? The aisles in between where you can send the robot-controlled UGVs, unmanned ground vehicle, become drones. And also, for the orchards, good farmers, they also put nets so that the birds cannot. Insect is one, also the birds, are they going to eat the flowers? So you have nets also they put around it. And of course, there are many interesting things that we have developed. I'm skipping them. So we can formulate this as a graph theory problem. We call this orchard graph. Right? So you can see that the objective is basically when you have drones collecting the data, they have limited battery power, different payload, how much they can hover around. So how do you communicate among the drones with the ground station, the limited bandwidth? Also, how do you set the energy? Right? So these are very nice algorithmic questions. You can design deterministic algorithm, approximation algorithm, randomized algorithm, distributed algorithms, online algorithms. I'm not going to the details. In fact, you can define what we call the mathematically very interesting orchard graph. You can do a lot of interesting stuff. So then what happened? This year in January, there was a special call between US and India. MET was the agency and NSF was the agency over there. We put together, that was called Quad Collaboration Team. 4 countries, US, India, Japan, and Australia. And we put together a proposal, and IISc Bangalore is the lead on that one. IIT PH is also involved. But I'll not say anything more than that. The title of the project is called Harvest. Harvest is an acronym of a different. Now this project is heading in the right direction. Probably in a month or so we'll be getting the good news. So they are actually talking about corn, soybean in the US monitoring, rice and paddy in the India, which is very common. Also in Japan. So you want to show the company, because in the US the rice growing is there but not very common. So we are actually looking into some of those things, and again, the drones, ground sensing, UGV, LoRa communication, wireless communication. So you can see that how the cornfields or maize can be affected, right? Very the rice. And of course, you look at the drought condition, flood condition, irrigation, all of these things. And this would be another video that you can play. It's a large, heavy duty, but that's the way they do fertilization, nutrients, and the use of crop, they spray pheromones. Pheromones are some kind of chemicals released by the female insects, and male insects get attracted, right? So basically they get trapped. So this is the deployment that we have. So I'm actually summarizing over there so that we have time for questions. Now the question, $1 million question. We have been doing this research for 25 years in different. Started with smart home design, then smart health, smart energy, transportation, agriculture, different types of vertical application. Every problem is different. Fundamental questions are different. Now we are making everybody else smart. My building is smart, my car is smart, my device is smart. Question is the reverse question. Having assumed that all environments are very smart, how do I use that smart technology to make us better? World is not better. So many conflicts between India and neighboring. You talk about Israel and Gaza, Ukraine versus Russia, and not only that, people are killing each. So we are as animalistic as anything else. Question is, and this is a very nice question, the human-centric thing. How do I take advantage of the smart technology to affect our behavior? For example, if I get a prompt on my phone that Sajal, you are getting angry, that will be a good restrainer. But challenge is everybody's brain signal is so different. How do you develop models? That means we need personalized model. Do I have enough data for each person? So these are very nice questions. So you can write good thesis on that. Human-centric behavior to make our society much better. Or you can save somebody's life who is going to commit a suicide. You just put encouraging words, and then by 5 to 10 minutes, by that time, maybe rescue team will be there to save. You can see lots of application. If I can analyze the brain signals of terrorists, I can probably stop a terrorist attack. Maybe Pahalgam will not be there. But once you do aftermath, you see sequence of things that these guys did. But we did not know ahead of time. Right? So you can see that there are plenty of opportunity. I'll give a very simple example. It is possible. Only question is very hard. Simple things. You go to a supermarket or departmental store. You are under CCTV. What does it mean? It means that everybody's behavior is controlled because you know that you are being watched. Everybody is not a thief, but think that that is not there. Only very few people are there in the counters. What would happen? Just think about it. Or if you're home, let's say you put aside, this house is monitored by such and such security company. That is a deterrent to the robbers because they don't want to be detected. Even though maybe it is not being monitored, it's a camouflaging. So you can see that this is a simple technology that we have. But the question is, can I develop AI, machine learning based models to understand human behavior and their brain signals so they can save somebody's life from committing suicide? I can stop a terrorist attack. Or we behave more normally. I'm not jealous, I'm not greedy because I'm getting a lot of pushback. And that's a very good question. We have been looking into it. The challenge again is how do you collect so much of data for individuals? Personalized. Everybody's brain signal is different. Same input can make me happy, can somebody make somebody sad. Somebody can just say, ignore, okay, I don't care, but somebody takes it very personal, you know? And that's very normal. So again, I'm also very much involved with different IEEE and SEN activities. So kind of thing that you may be interested in this community. Of course, this submission deadline for ICDCN that primarily happens in India, but time to time it goes outside. Next year in Japan, that deadline is just gone end of July. But pervasive computing is the flagship conference. I had the timing, I don't know what happened. So pervasive computing will be in Pisa, Italy, on 16th through 20th March. The deadline for submission will be sometime end of September. Just go percom.org. In a smart computing conference, will be in Sicily, Italy, next year, a lot of conference in Italy. That deadline is June 26th through 29th. And I think the WOMOM, wireless mobile multimedia, that's where I met Professor Sushmita Das in Boston a couple of years ago, first time. And that is going to be in Bologna, Italy. So you may be interested in those different. So I just wanted to keep it a little bit on the funny side. So one of my academic grandson, you understand that, right? Your students are your academic son and their children. So he found out, he's a faculty at university, that okay, our genealogy goes to Thomas Alva Edison, right? So that means all my students and grandchildren also will have the same thing. I just want to show that on the, and you may be interested in that, you can find who is your academic forefather, ancestors, right? You can find out, NSC is yours, Ashutosh. You can find out who is the ancestor. So the way you read it, I was working with this graph theorist, Professor Narsingh Deo. He graduated from Northwestern University. His advisor was Professor Hakimi, who was a faculty who graduated from Urbana-Champaign. That's the way you read it, in the backward. Okay? And I work for NSF as a program director, so even founder of NSF is in my genealogy. Who is considered the father of Silicon Valley in Bay Area, in California. Also, this is very rich. Anyway, so this is on the lighter side. Some of my students and postdocs who have been faculty in different places, in US, in Italy, in Finland, Asia, and also some of them are actually one of my, for example, Ajay Kotham is a faculty at IIT BHU. Ashish Gupta is Wits Pilani in Dubai campus. A band? That other it's not? Yeah, okay, it's coming. I'm almost there. This is the last part, one slide, believe me. But we are all in academics. So this is a famous quotation: no Googling, no smartphone use. I need you to answer. The first quotation, I like it very, very much. It talks about how a master teacher should be. Because we teach in the classroom or even otherwise, right? So you read that one, a teacher can never truly teach unless he is still learning himself. A lamp cannot light another lamp until it continues to burn its own flame. That's a dissemination. A teacher who has come to the end of his subject has no living traffic with his knowledge, but merely repeats his lesson to the students, can only load their mind, he cannot quicken them. So all of us who are teachers over here or would-be teachers, please keep that in mind. It's very important how do we inspire our students and the next generation. Okay? So now question is, whose quotation is this one? I want you to answer, otherwise you're not going for lunch at the next session. You'll be captive over here. And please don't Google. No use a smartphone. But whose quotation is this? Swami Vivekananda, I camouflaged you because the bottom was in Swami Vivekananda, but the top one is not. See, that's the camouflage. He talked about the security, Dr. Datta, right? Sometimes you camouflage people. And I did that. So who else? So Swami Vivekananda is not the quotation, origin of the quotation. Huh? That's a good guess, but not, because that's a common mistake that people make, right? Not Abdul Kalam. Who else? Radhakrishnan is also another mistake. So usually you think that Radhakrishnan, Abdul Kalam, Swami Vivekananda, they're not. Huh? Rabindranath Tagore. Yes, sir. He was a master teacher too, right? Because he started from not only just Vishwabharati University, he was first Nobel Prize with non-European, 1913, right? And I'll also show you something that I want to make it a little funny. So interesting. Have you seen the picture in the middle before? Yes or no? Yes. You know the context? 1926 in Berlin. So it was still undivided Germany. So Rabindranath Tagore used to go to different places, Japan, Europe, US. So he was traveling to Europe. So he got his Nobel Prize in 1913. When did Einstein get the Nobel Prize? When did Einstein? You all have to read history. And I'm a proponent of scientific history, biographies and all. If you don't do that, then you don't develop the passion, especially the students. When did Einstein get the Nobel Prize? 1921. What was the topic? He got Nobel Prize for? What? What is that? Now please. How many of you think that he got Nobel Prize for special theory of relativity? It is not special theory, it was for photoelectric effect. He invented both this technology the same, the theory and the technology in 1905. But we can talk about. So Nobel had the will that it must have a social impact. Nobody understood theory of relativity, there's no impact at that time. But the thing is that a poet laureate was a physicist laureate. What was the topic of discussion? I'm not giving you some time to ask questions after this talk. This is just a prelude to that. What was the topic of that discussion? Eastern and Western philosophy. Right? So Rabindranath Tagore, if you read his poetries, poems, as well as songs, has very deep philosophical thinking. Both are philosophers. Anyway, my very, very last slide now. I want everybody to answer very quickly. Don't think much, it is not technical. What do you see on the screen? A box. What kind of box is that? Huh? Square box? Yeah, that's the way I drew it. It's a black box, square box, white box. It's a transformer. It's an algorithm. I'm in computer science. Electrical engineer, that says transformer. I have an op-amp, I have an input, output, there's a transfer function. I get different signal. I say algorithm. And if it's an algorithm or a transfer function, an algorithm has what? How many of you are computer science? So if I give you an algorithm, there should be some input, and there should be, okay, let me give you some input and output, then you tell me what that algorithm is. Two different inputs. One is a flower bud, and is a larva or a cocoon. Okay? And output, that flower bud becomes a very beautiful flower that you cannot take your stares away. And that larva cocoon becomes a caterpillar and a beautiful butterfly. You love it. What is that transformer? What is that algorithm? Evolution is one. Yes, I want quick answer. Growth, nature, time. So evolution, growth, nature, time. What else? Sunlight, fertilizer, water. You just think about it. All of you are correct, but my favorite answer is you will all love it. Because all the students who are coming right now are those flower buds, those larvas. And you put them in 5 years, 4 years, or whatever, master's, BTech, right? And I understand it was this, yes, multiple examples. So I understand the institute was established on 15th of August in 1961 on the Independence Day. So thank you very much. That's the end of my talk. I'll actually look for your questions. Okay, it's time now. I hope I did not take much of your time, but questions, comments, anything that you think. You know the best way to attack a professor? Professors not only give talks, they take exams and they give questions. If you don't ask questions, I'll ask questions. So the best way to combat is you ask questions, keep them busy. Yes, he is very bold. Yes, please. Yeah. Is a microphone there? Or you can take this one. Or you can speak loudly. Oh, that's right. So she wanted not to be asked questions. Yes. Dementia. Right. Yeah, different therapies are there, yeah. So her question is that dementia is manifested differently for different people. Music therapy is just one, right? And what kind of music is it? Hindi music, English music, pop music, it all depends on personalized test. So that is just one method. This is just to keep the people active in terms of brain power, right? So ground truth comes mostly from MRI, CAT scan. The doctors have to detect. You only see the behavioral change. Right? You think about, I'm sure you think about your family members, elderly person, somebody went through some dementia somewhere. Some of them led to Alzheimer's, Parkinson's. Even early detection of dementia is the hardest part. By the time it is detected, it's too late. Right? As I'm standing here, as you are all here, we do not know who is going through this onset. That may start much early. So we are learning a lot of things, talking to the neurologist, MD, and neuropsychologist. If you calibrate, this is the timeline, your age, sometimes you think it's an aging effect that I'm losing memory. It may not be. Maybe it's an onset of dementia. Vertical side, right? It's a good conditions of your brain power, memory, that's a steady state at the early age, right? And then it goes through something, a little degradation called MCI, mild cognitive impairment. And that's a stretch, that depends on the immunity, body chemistry of the people. And that goes, and then suddenly it crosses a threshold. It was very sharp when it is very hard to do anything. And it's very much noticeable, and that's the time people go to doctors normally. But if that MCI, mild cognitive impairment, can be early, I can actually prolong the longevity of the person with some medication. So, yeah. So it all depends on, different people have different. Yes, please. You can speak a little loud so that others can hear. Yes. I think you can hear, right? Yes. Yes. Ground sensing, different types of things, as well as the camera sensing. Camera sensing from the drone side, as well as UGV, unmanned ground vehicle mobile robots. Yes, we have done. Very good question, because different insects, they emit different types of acoustic signals.
So my next question comes that when you are using acoustic systems, how are you eliminating the effect of the system noise? For example, the drone,
that's right, wind or whatever, right?
Yes, and the ground vehicles also, while they are dashing against these
Very good question. You have the
so-
camera sensing, which is visual.
interference?
You have the other kind of sensing, and also acoustic, because different insects are different. They actually have different types of sounds. Sometimes not noticeable, sometimes could be ultrasound, sometimes could be ultrasonic or something. It's a little tricky, the signal processing, but yes, we have actually looked into some of those things, a multimodal fusion of different types of signals that you get. For example, if you want to see the chest pressure, how it is propagating, sometimes this one is the pheromone that they spread, right? As well as the sound that is a Doppler effect. So we are looking into that. We have not done too much on that, but it's a very important thing.
Maybe frequency domain
That's right.
investigation might reveal something.
Yes.
Actually,
Whether
sir,
they're coming in or going out, how it is spreading, all of these things. Yeah, so different types of modalities that you need to collect.
right. So actually, sir, there is one problem in which I personally am working on.
Right.
That is using drones. Can I detect the smell of a storage facility?
Right.
Maybe some rotting is happening. But then the
There's
problem
chemical
is that-
sensing, odor.
Yes, chemical sensing the odor. But then the problem, that most important problem here is that the odor profile itself will be, mixed up by the rotors and also how to take care of that. I don't know. I'm just
Yeah, that's
asking.
why I mentioned, I say machine learning algorithm, I can have different, but question is in the wild, if you deploy, then you have to become very sure that your system is working in presence of uncertainty.
Information should be clean.
Yes.
Otherwise, if there is
That's
a
right.
bias, then it will be.
Because uncertainty is huge when you
Right.
deploy in the wild. What you think in the model it will work, it will not work most of the time. Even for cases like this, for example, we have LoRa communication, long range communication, which is not at the field, but uncertainty, weather conditions, right? Wind effect, rain, fog, all of these things, right? It's very, very important. Yeah. So when you deploy anything in the field, your challenges are different than what we get. Most of the solutions we come up with, the models and assumptions, they have some, it works fine as a laboratory thing, but when you deploy, yes, we have to take care of that. Your accuracy may go from 85% to 64%, for example. Yeah. But these are the real challenges, but very insightful information that you can get, very impactful results that you can get. So that's why I said, so many computer vision, image processing, or other kind of algorithm may not work depending on what you are looking for. There's an insect called aphid. It's very tiny, and they multiply very fast. Right? I can tell you, in my kitchen garden, I had a zucchini plant growing very well, giving a lot of zucchini, and where I did not notice this. Just 2 days later, I noticed there's an infection, either fungus or some insect, and 3 days time, all these plants were gone. That means if I can detect much earlier, that sometimes you have it goes from the root, sometimes it affects the leaves, sometimes also the stem, so depending on the nature of the disease. So that's why the entomologists, who are plant biologists, agricultural scientists, we work with them to find out how to recognize what is going on. That's exactly why I'm saying that. Not only soil sensor, not exact the stem also. Because sometimes you'll see the stem actually is infected. The leaves are fine, but once the stem is infected, that means your capillary is not working in terms of getting the nutrients or the water, right? And it dies. So it is not top, not the bottom only, but also the middle part. And that becomes very challenging depending on what you have. Sometimes you have the hyperspectral imaging, all of this. But these are good questions, and I'm here for the rest of the day. I'll be leaving tomorrow. My international flight is tomorrow night, but all day I'm here, so we can have more discussions. Anything else? I know Professor Poonam Singh is getting worried. Right? So,
Not worried, but it is getting late for lunch, so there's no time for more questions. You can discuss during the lunch.
can I just say it's a little joke to make you very happy? You know, Calcutta is notorious for coming to the government offices very late. So there's a person who used to come late in the office every day, will go home early every day. His colleagues actually watched for a while. They said, Dada, what is the matter? You come late and you go early. And then he had a very witty answer. What was that answer? That's a question, then you can leave. So he comes late, goes early. Yeah, that's a good computer science answer, because what he said, I cannot be late twice. Thank you.
So thank you very much for the inspiring and interesting talk. Now we'll give a certificate to felicitate and a memento to felicitate, sir.
Thank you for your attention. I admire it. Thank you. So this is for Canada. Thank you. Professor Sushmita Das, Dr. Chibu, please come.